You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. Hype button, please, for the replay gang. Thank you button, replay gang. Cash out for everybody that wants to, donate a little something, donate a few shekels. Donate a few shekels. Okay, I'm gonna get right into it. Pause. Okay. Let's start off with Joshua. That's the brother's name, right? The comedian's name. That I've been watching for a little while now, right? Joshua, comedian in the vein of Dave Chappelle. He's kind of walking that Dave Chappelle line. I'm not saying he's as talented, but he's walking down that particular path. And he's pretty good. I've been watching the brother for a while now. I think he's talented. I think he's funny. He knows how to kind of build the joke up. Interesting guy. Okay. Josh Johnson has gone after the Manosphere. And so is Terry Crews. I haven't watched that yet. That's on the list of things to do. Right? Okay. Josh Johnson has a segment. Check out the link in the description box. It's about an hour or so long, a little over an hour long. And about the second half-ish of the segment, he goes in on the Manosphere. This is what I will say to Josh Johnson. And once again, Outliers doing too much talking is my title. This is what much of what Mr. Z is going to say I've said before, so prepare thyselves. To Josh Johnson, I haven't watched Terry Crews yet, so we're going to pause on that, but it looks like he's going after, right? Shout out to all the leftists. Shout out to all the people who are all of a sudden so alarmed by this documentary, which admittedly, I haven't watched that yet either. What I will say is, the Black Manosphere in specific, I'm not speaking about the white Manosphere or the people of color that are contributors to the, quote, Manosphere, which is the Clanosphere, which is the white Manosphere. Okay. I would argue the reason why there is a Black Manosphere is because our daughters are assholes. Ooh, goddamn. Selfish, self-centered, mean, snarky, rude, sexist, materialistic, consumerist, misandrous assholes. And like no one in the Black community is addressing it. Like no one. The Black Manosphere is not handing out pamphlets. They're not handing out flyers. They're not attempting to recruit. Right? The Black Manosphere in specific are not trying to kidnap or abduct young Black males, boys and men. They're not selling this like it's a drug. They're not selling ideology as if it's some illegal substance. It's not necessarily the algorithm. I would argue the reason why you have men, particularly young men and boys, listening to the Black Manosphere is because they're trying to make sense of the world. And your asshole daughters. Your little bundle of joy, your little sugar, spice, and everything nice, your infallible daughter is an asshole to the boys and men. And y'all know it. Oops. And let's be clear, Mr. Z is not saying that your daughter needs to be nice to the boys and men. I am not delusional or some type of one of these weirdo people that think that we should force our daughters to be with our sons and bring a bum home and be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant. And Mr. Z is not about that. And I would argue most Black Manosphere contributors and content creators aren't. But once again, your daughters owe us nothing. And guess what? We owe them nothing either. If your daughters have the right to be mean, snarky, rude, sassy assholes, then guess what? The boys deserve the right and reserve the right to either stay the hell away or respond in kind. And to hell with your ideas of manhood, right? What I am saying, what I am getting at, and if anyone wants to send this to Josh Johnson or any one of these folks, if y'all know these folks, appreciate that there will always be male content. Y'all can't drown us out because you're not being honest with the boys and men that the women are mean assholes. And that a certain level of companionship and marriage is now a class game and it's reserved for the elite and everybody else gets slop. Every other man, oops, black man, oops, gets slop. Huh? You get the baby mamas, you get the overweight, you get the whimsical. You get the women with the 3-digit body count, 4-digit body count. You get the undisciplined. Because no one's being honest with the boys and the men. They're always going to come over here and listening to us. They're always, ooh, goddamn. I get it. Shame Black Manosphere, maybe even Manosphere, insult them, make them look like the weird sexist uncle, mock them. For those of them that are lying about their life and their lifestyle, expose them about lying about their life and their lifestyle. And this is the way we're going to get our sons to understand that these folks are only selling courses. They're selling masculinity in a bottle. They're selling manhood in a bottle. It's not real. Right? Yeah. So y'all lie to our sons and accuse us of lying to our sons. Mainstream lies to the boys and the men and then accuses the manosphere, the black manosphere, lying to the boys and the men. Let's say this. You're never, ever, ever, ever going to get these young men to be blind to the misbehavior of the women. It's not going to happen. Just focus on yourself, love yourself, and okay, yeah, you're going to run into 1 or 2 misbehaving, sexist, misandrist women, but that shouldn't change who you are. Just focus on yourself. You're going to go from, and you're going to listen to all of these men, the left in particular, but even some of the right, are going to throw all of these men, these notable, famous men, white, black, Latino, Asian, or otherwise, they're going to flood this conversation over the next few years. Attempting to get our, and don't be surprised, shout out to Black Uru, if they don't try to turn the lights off over here. I'm calling it now. If you think we're suppressed now, you haven't seen nothing yet. Because for them, it's becoming a critical mass. It's too much. Because our sons aren't doing for our asshole daughters in America. They're not subsidizing our asshole daughters. They're not having oops babies enough for our with our asshole daughters. They're not chasing after our asshole daughters and asking for marriage so that she could divorce him in 5 years if you're black, 8 years if you're not. Huh? They're going to attempt to flood the conversation. Flood the zone, if you will. Because too many of you are actually being like, you know what? Hey. Leave them where they are. Leave them with the bears. See, we know the women are popping that, and it's their way of engaging in the gender war. I'll choose a bear. I'll choose a polar bear. A polar bear, you know polar bears hunt humans, right? Dumbass. I'll choose a bear over a random man in the forest. I'll choose the polar bear over a random man in the Arctic. Oh, because the bear's not going to grape me. Okay, yeah, that's it. Huh? Shout out to Josh Johnson. I'm going to watch the documentary and I'm going to review Terry Crews in the next couple days, next few days. So y'all look out for that. You are going to continue to have this issue because these folks, all they see is toxic men that are influencing young men and boys to be toxic, sexist. No, these young men are not going to overproduce for your asshole daughters who are going to divorce them anyway, who are going to break up with them anyway. Huh? That's what it is. The young men are having real experiences with their female teachers, with their female professors, with the girls in class, with their mothers, with their female siblings, with their female family members. Random things they overhear as young adults, as children. They're not coming to you for the answers because they've been coming to y'all for the answers for decades. And y'all lie to them. You minimize the misbehavior of the women and girls, the sexist rhetoric of the women and girls. You tell them that they have to eat it because their granddad was a sexist, because their granddad backhanded their mom 50, no, excuse me, not mom. Their granddad backhanded their grandma 45 years ago. So now the boys and the men got to eat that, some type of cosmic justice. Huh? The boys aren't going. They're not going to do it. Y'all better find another way. Huh? The Black Manosphere in specific, the Black Manosphere in specific, the reason why there's a Black Manosphere is because in the Black community, we just refuse to address sexist, misandrist language, rhetoric, actions. We shame the men, we shame the boys and tell them, well, this is what it is, and this is what you're gonna eat.
As a man, if you don't have house core job, don't look for a woman with house core job. And for the men that complain about women that do that, look for a man that has all three, and they don't have all three. We can do that. We are women. You want us. You need us. Y'all want one thing from us. And mad because we boss y'all around because you're a fucking servant. You're a provider, right? You're a protector, right? You're a security guard and you're a goddamn assistant. Know your place. Stop being contradicting and bow down. Because I'm sick of it.
The problem is we don't have enough women disrespecting men. We don't have enough women humbling these men and putting them in their place. We need to start making these men feel worthless because they are, okay? Call him a bitch. Disrespect him. Put him down. Make him feel bad about himself. Like, what's going on here? I feel like we're losing the plot. Like, I'm seeing too many marriages and too many people getting in these relationships. That's why these men think that they're the prize. Because y'all are putting them on this pedestal, making them feel like they're the prize. No. It's your job as a woman to put that man down and put him in his place. Treat him like the animal he is.
What if black women were supposed to be the leaders and black men are just supposed to protect with their muscles and use their listening ears and carry out instructions?
These are the things floating all over the Black community. Miss me with the no, that's just one or two, and that's that they're just responding. Miss me. Your sons are running into this in school, out in public, huh? At home. And because the black community is a matriarchy, if you want to be kind, a gynocracy, if you want to be accurate.
Well, look, for me, it has never really been about black man or man. It's been about men. Mm-hmm. You know, there's this myth out there that black men can't handle being spoken to, you know, and told what to do by black women. Black men come from our bodies. Yeah. So black men have black mothers. So they're used to having these conversations with women.
The matriarchy is strong with the black
community. It is very
community.
strong.
Yeah.
Conversations with women.
The matriarchy is strong with the black
It is
community.
very strong.
Yeah.
Because the black community is a matriarchy, if you want to be kind, a gynocracy, if you want to be accurate.
And for a lot of, and you know, we are a matriarchal community, and I've said that before. And you have a lot of women in the sisterhood who say that we are a patriarchal community. And no, we're not. The vast majority of black people, myself included, was raised by a single mother. And that's the men and the women. We are matriarchal. If we were truly patriarchal, our communities would not be in this situation. And I'm going off on a tangent. The reason why the sisterhood doesn't like strong, masculine black men who are truly living in their masculinity is because because black women would need accountability in order to fall under correction. I recently had someone coming at me.
Because the black community is a matriarchy, if you want to be kind, a gynocracy, if you want to be accurate, black boys and men are put in a very interesting position. You either bow down or date or marry out. Goddamn. Or find the one or two black women that were socialized differently, grab her hand and run out the community. For the love of God, run for your life. Or subject you and your family to gynocratic rule, which inevitably would destroy that family. To Josh Johnson, that's what it is. And you know it. Everyone does. You studied the black community, I don't know, for all of 2.2 seconds, if even that long, and you know it. We could stop pretending now. Outliers doing too much talking. I'm going to fix that too. I know it's the wrong one. Outliers doing too much talking. What entices young men about the manosphere and the black manosphere is the manhood and masculinity and the brashness. To be fair, what's the other side? Meek ass men? Protect, provide, shut up men? Huh? Sassy, borderline LGBTQ men?
I miss when men used to protect, provide, and shut up.
Huh? Men that have some weird BDS kink where they like being talked down to and belittled?
Said if you are broke and I choose to deal with you, I will belittle you. It is what it is.
Huh? What's the alternative? So of course it's enticing the way those of us in the manosphere and maybe even the black manosphere speak. Because everywhere else in the society tells men to protect, provide, and shut up. But we're not going to really tell you the protect part like out loud, because that's going to make the women feel a certain way, like they're actually overproducing, and they're not. That they're actually holding up the society, and if it wasn't for them, that the society would collapse. Not true. We don't want to hurt their feelings, so we're not going to say the protect part out loud, and we're not going to say the provide part out loud. Even though we know they're hypocrites, and the women that are making money and good money, they're still trying to date and marry up financially. And all the marriage and divorce data shows that it's really dependent on the money of the man and the education of the man. But we're not supposed to say that out loud. because then it shows, I don't know, patriarchy. And we're not supposed to admit that the women actually do want patriarchy. They just want patriarchy by feminist specifications. We can't say that out loud. Huh? It's easy. It's cakewalk. It's cake to Josh Johnson, to Terry Crews, to all the people. Oh my God, did y'all see the Netflix documentary about the Manosphere? All these people are fake. Oh my God, they're selling courses. It's easy. It's cakewalk. You know what recruits your sons to listen to us? You! You and the women. If you want to know why your sons are listening to us, because of you and the women. You know, because y'all don't ever mention the women, or y'all speak about them like they're infallible. And then the women speak about themselves like, well, they're infallible. Huh? That's easy. As I said before, at least for the Black Manosphere, we're not recruiting. We're not handing out pamphlets. We're not handing out flyers. We're not the Nation of Islam standing in the middle of the intersection handing out newspapers. Shout out to the Nation of Islam. Huh? We're not the Israelites standing on the corner. No. We've carved out our little space on social media and the internet, and your sons come looking for answers. Okay, let's concede. Let's say the algorithm pushes them here and they stay. Why do they stay? Because everyone else is lying to them. Even if I was to concede that the algorithm pushes them over here like a wave, they stay. Why do they stay? Because everyone else is lying to them. Huh? They stay because they could smell it. They can't put it in words, maybe, but there's something about that faux masculinity that y'all selling over there. That watered down, pliable, kiss women's ass masculinity over there. That if you're not getting no vagina, then it's okay. Maybe you need to work on you. Maybe it's you. It has nothing to do with the women and how we've been socialized them for the past few decades. That they're supposed to just resign themselves to that. Huh. I wonder. Huh? When the young men are being told, you lack personality. You're not likable. Right? Not on my level. I want what could possibly be the reason? Huh? As Mr. Z rubs chin, what could possibly be the reason that so many of these young men are listening to Black Manosphere? Huh? Yikes. So to Josh Johnson, once again, link is in the description for those of you who haven't seen it yet. He starts really going in on the Black Manosphere, well, the Manosphere, around the halfway point. I want to keep on emphasizing this. The outliers are doing too much talking. We have to be honest that you're never going to get the women to get over patriarchy. Let me say this again. You're never, ever, ever going to have them get off of men provide and protect. What they're trying to do now is get the provision and the protection for nothing, for their presence. Or for what they want to bring to the table, not what the men prefer. The outliers are doing too much talking because y'all don't have to live this life with these women. It's easy for Drake to say nice for what? It's easy for these celebrities to mock the everyday man. It's easy because you don't have to interact with the asshole women on that level. You know, as annoying as it is, when you watch Myron kick women out of the studio, appreciate that your everyday man would have to have eaten that attitude. Now, let's be clear. Oftentimes, it's Myron or one of the other male hosts that instigate a woman going off the deep end. Admittedly. With that, your average man has to eat that asshole. Pause. Has to endure that attitude. The loud, the irate, the throwing things around the studio. If this was an average man's home, what was he supposed to do? Call 911? Huh? Your sons watch because they like to see a man be a man and kick her out the goddamn studio. To hell with your ideas of it being toxic. Because your sons have been watching mass media for at least 2 to 3 decades of women sunning men, talking down to men, belittling men, and the men are the comic relief. The big dumb oaf. Of course, when they see Myron kick a woman out of the studio, they're going to watch in amazement. We can do that? That's possible? Huh? From Africa I came. But that's why I said pause. I realized it after the fact. Anyway. Right? I shouldn't say either assholeness, but then still would need correction. Either way. It's like these little things that are so obvious that these folks keep on ignoring. Because they really think you're going to have the masses of men subsidize asshole women. Like where? Especially when they watch. I want you to understand, these men are boys when their mothers divorce their fathers. These men are boys when their mothers divorce their fathers. They are witness, because the women are so whimsical. They are witness to their mothers hiding this, hiding that. Okay, I got this little money stashed away here. I hid this letter. I hid that. They're with their mothers when their mothers are divorcing their fathers. They overhear all the crap. Y'all do realize that, right? Y'all do realize the boys are sitting at one table in the lunchroom while the girls plot on another girl at the other table in the lunchroom. While the girls plot on a boy at the other table in the lunchroom. Y'all do realize that, right? Y'all do realize the boys see the special treatment that the girls get in class, right? Y'all do realize that the boys are privy to women on the internet, teachers, female teachers on the internet, saying we're no longer coddling your boys in an antagonistic, mean, sexist way. Y'all do realize that the boys see that. Huh? And you think it's the Manosphere and the Black Manosphere recruiting these men and these boys? Huh? Oh boy. You do know the boys know that their mothers are dating this guy, and they overhear their mom saying, yeah, you get money from this guy, and then the good sex is with that guy. And then you do realize they overhear their mothers and their aunts and the females in their family speaking like that, and know it's not exclusively a black thing. You do realize that, right? So no, Josh Johnson, you're not just gonna shame the Manosphere, Black Manosphere. And the boys will be like, yeah, that's sexist. Yeah, that's sexist. No, let me tell you what's going to happen. Your 12-year-olds are going to turn 15, and they're going to turn 18, and they're going to turn 21, and they're going to be interacting with the women, and they're going to run right into the wall. Bow! Booty call. Huh? They're going to run into the wall of the booty call. They are going to run into the wall of, this is your girlfriend and she doing this on the side. Whoops. Huh? They are going to run into women. Heterosexual men are going to interact with, wait for it, heterosexual women. For the good and bad of it all. The bad of it all. The bad of it all. You know, the part that everyone in this society outside of red pill and manosphere spaces like to minimize or ignore. It's too easy. So once again, the Black Manosphere in specific isn't handing out pamphlets or flyers or attempting to recruit or kidnap, abduct. That is not what's happening. No, the young men and the boys are listening because of their own interactions with girls and women and other placating, ass-kissing men. All right. So moving along, next. Well, actually, before we do that, let's read this from Toya. And Toya says, on the way in tax. And thank you for the super chat, Toya. Thank you for the super chat. Toya said, on the way in, I guess Toya's going to work today. What, doing a little bit of overtime, I guess. I think that's what you're trying to say, Toya. I think, and I'm gonna get to that in 1 minute, Trail. Let me give me a second. Okay, and so let's move along. We're still on the same title. The Outliers are doing too much talking, right? And so this video has been making its rounds over the past couple of days, but we're going to link it to something else in a minute. Continuing. Oh, like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, because Mr. Z might get a strike for this or a copyright. So y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, and continuing.
I think marriage is legalized slavery.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Say more, because if I'm thinking about slavery and I'm thinking about marriage, there are two different images that come into my head.
Absolutely not. I don't know how you don't. A man is, especially if he's expecting you to be a trad wife, you might as well pull out a whip and a chain.
Wow. So there are young people watching who might be wanting to get married. What would you say to them?
Don't
get married.
No.
Okay.
Right? So the segment is much longer, but y'all get it. Now, remember, that is Leslie Jones in a recent interview. But this gives, you can't fire me, I quit. What is Mr. Z talking about? Because this was Leslie Jones about 4 to 5-ish months ago.
I don't understand why you wouldn't want a woman like me. I am successful, I'm rich, I can fight. I will say it, I love men, thanks.
Yeah.
But I don't love a stupid man. If you can't be with my peace, you can be with the door.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in your masculine area. Well, why don't you get in yours? I'm sick of men telling me, oh, well, you know, you hardcore. Yes, I am.
Can you handle it?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
what you bringing to the table? I am the table.
I want everyone to appreciate, especially that, yes, I am in my masculine era, and I am the table. Y'all heard the aggression in her voice. Appreciate, that's frustration, that's anger, that's resentment, because one of y'all rich and famous dudes preferably won't choose up on her. So now she's saying marriage is slavery and yada, 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 yada. Let's be clear. What Leslie Jones is exhibiting is par for the course. You have to expect women in specific to keep on doing this. This "you can't fire me, I quit." So she's telling you she's struggling in the dating scene. That's what she's saying. She was also on what's her name? Drew Barrymore's show speaking on this. And so what you have is her dirty macking. She's telling you she's struggling in the dating scene. This is very female. You can't fire me, I quit. I'm struggling in the dating scene. So I see marriage as slavery. I'm telling young people to don't get married. I tell, especially the women, of course, she's talking to the women primarily. Don't get married. Are you saying that, madam? Because it don't look like you ever get married unless you buy peen, unless you buy that man and buy that marriage. To America, to the West, to the entire planet. Your daughters don't owe the men being on their program. Your daughters don't owe the men being kind or nice or understanding. Your daughters don't owe the men any of it. Likewise, your sons don't owe your daughters consideration. Your sons don't owe your daughters overproducing. Your sons don't owe your daughters marriage. Your sons don't owe your daughters companionship. If where we are now as a species, particularly in the West, particularly in America, if where we are now is that the elites get married more often than not, stay married, and everyone else is freestyling, some of us still get married in working class and working poor and lower middle class backgrounds. Some of us still get married and we're divorced within 5 years if you're black, within 8 years if you're not in America, right? And the rest of us just never get married. We have oops babies, if even that. You just go from situationship to long-term relationship to short-term situationship to short-term relationship to I'm pregnant. You keeping a baby? No. Okay. I'm pregnant. You keeping a baby? Yes. If that's what all the rest of us will be resigned to, then be prepared to deal with the consequences. Huh? And that's what it is. The outliers doing too much talking. The outliers are doing too much talking. I'm going to change the title after the stream. My grammar is all type of messed up. My spelling is all type of messed up. We'll fix it. What you see with Leslie Jones in that frustration, I would argue you see across particularly the black community, but overall larger society in America. The women want to be aggressive. They want to be boisterous. They want to be them. Nothing wrong with that, but the men don't owe them. What you see with Leslie Jones, even though she is a famous rich woman, you see exhibited in the classes below her. Women who are who they want to be, and the men who say, see, yeah, the way my wallet works, I can't do it. See, the way my feelings work, the way my mind works, I can't do, I can't do it. I can't do it. And the women throw a temper tantrum, acting like they never wanted this in the first place. Dirty macking, throwing salt in the game. Huh? So now marriage is slavery because Leslie Jones can't get the type of man that she wants to bow. Huh? Instead of Leslie Jones being honest, she's hurt, she's lonely, she's angry. Let's not forget a few years ago when they had that leak, that Sony leak, and we saw, not Mr. Z, but Leslie Jones nudes were leaked. And so many men, white men, racist white men, were flaming her and calling her on top of ape and monkey, et cetera, et cetera. And she went through a deep depression and she wanted to self-delete. Let's not forget that what informs Leslie Jones is that also. Huh? What we are witness to is modernity ripping up the old playbook, just shredding it. And the only people, at least what we're witnessing, that are somewhat insulated are the elite and the highly educated, especially if you're both. Everyone else is coping with and dealing with the environment in their own way. Huh? It's to be expected what we see from Leslie Jones. We've seen this multiple times. The women in particular who can't get men to do what they want them to do the way they want the men to do it. And so they start speaking like, as Leslie Jones said, well, marriage ain't nothing anyway. It's just slavery anyway. Huh? Who want to be married anyway? Huh? Who wants to be with average anyway? Women who finally have to come to terms with marriage won't be an instant 2-3 jumps up the class scale. Oh, that drives them absolutely mad. You're trying to tell me I can't practice hypergamy at the absolute highest level? I can't be a $45, $50, $55, $60,000 earning woman and then just snap my fingers and marry or date into a man earning $200,000 a year, $300,000. That's not going to happen for me. Absolutely not, madam. Well, F it anyway. I didn't want it anyway. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, yep, that's it. You have an entire society, 300 plus million people, and most of us are pretending that that's not what it is. Let your daughters speak and don't interrupt them. Have the uncomfortable conversation and don't interrupt them. And see if you don't end up what Mr. Z is talking about. Huh? All this fake ass empowerment language, now to be fair to the ladies, is the society telling their average women to cope with. They know. I want y'all to appreciate the technocrats know. They know. They're pretending like they don't know. They know. Damn, we done sold these women since they were little girls hyper consumerism and materialism. We done sold them upward mobility with these college degrees. Now they're graduating with 30, 40, 50, 60 plus, 100 plus, 200 plus, goddamn Z, 300 plus, 500 plus, $1,000 in student loan debt. I'm not making up that 500 plus, by the way. They're graduating, but for average, they're graduating with 30 and 40 and 50 and $60,000 in student loan debt. Their job pays them $45,000, $50,000, $55,000, $60,000 a year. For the most of them, the most they'll ever make in their life is a good, cool 70. Not the worst in the world, but that's definitely not rich. And that's if she's lucky. A cool 70,000. That's the most she's ever going to earn in her life. In a year. Huh? Els Active says with overtime. Hysterical. So what the society sells women as cope is these rom-coms and these aspirational television shows and movies where she's damn near a princess, where she lucked up on some man who is going to pluck her out of obscurity and elevate her just because he saw her in the store one day. He just saw her and was like, oh, you're the one. You're going to be my wife. And it has completely distorted the dating scene.
Rom-coms used to tell men you're lovable as you are. Now they tell everyone if you're not elite, don't bother. You see, we didn't just change casting, we rewired expectations. Adam Sandler, Tom Cruise, Bruce Willis, Mike Myers, Jack Black, Michael J. Fox, Steve Carell, John Cusack, Ben Stiller, Seth Rogen, Billy Crystal, LL Cool J, Kevin Hart, Nicolas Cage, even the guys on Friends. Short guys, dad bods, balding guys, awkward guys, funny guys, men with blue-collar jobs, men you could actually imagine knowing. Rom-coms used to sell something radical. You don't have to be perfect to be lovable. Compare that to today. I'm fine with Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell falling in love, but when every romantic lead looks like a Marvel casting call, something breaks. Hallmark hunks, Netflix hunks, Instagram filter hunks. Take Emily in Paris. The young women are smart and attractive, but struggling to make a name for themselves and pay rent. And yet somehow they can't seem to settle down with supermodel men who are well-dressed and accomplished Michelin-star chefs and multi-millionaire heirs to their parents' fashion empires. One of the central characters, Sylvie, is a 62-year-old woman married to a handsome man who is 8 years younger than her, which is fine, but she also keeps hooking up with a 6'3" male model half her age. This is also the plot of every romance novel. A simple, average girl somehow catches the attention of a handsome prince. I get it. It's female fantasy, but it's also aspirational in all the wrong kind of ways. And we're seeing the effects in real life. Dating app data consistently shows that women overwhelmingly swipe on a small fraction of men. Tall, high-income, conventionally handsome men. A single guy who's over 6 feet and makes over $100,000 is a statistical anomaly, yet that's become the baseline expectation. So what happens when women who are 7s and 8s hold out for 9s and 10s? Men who are 6s and 7s opt out entirely, and everyone feels like something is wrong. Our brains are prediction machines. The media we consume trains what we expect and what we think we deserve. For the first time in modern history, fewer women say they want to get married than men. More people are living alone. Loneliness rates are exploding. This isn't about blaming women, and it's not about shaming men. It's about culture that stopped celebrating character and started selling unattainable ideals. We don't just need fewer attractive people on screen. We need equal pairings that feel realistic. Give us short kings. Give us plumbers, teachers, and social workers, not heirs to European wine empires. Give us men without six-packs and women without filters. Because when media teaches people that love only happens at the top 1%, everyone else gives up. And that's not romance. That's a recipe for cynicism and loneliness.
And shout out to that man, but actually that's kind of what's happening. Oh, CZ, goddamn, I know I should have left it alone, but that is what's happening. It is the elites getting married. Whoops. Actually, that is what's happening. It is the elites getting married and staying married. By the way, marriage being used as a sign and a symbol of stability. Huh? That is what's happening. Whoops. What you have from mainstream society and mainstream media is taking advantage of women's desperation, their sadness and their loneliness, and selling them these lifestyles with the freaky deaky XXX fun, traveling overseas, the hunk of a man, not a single struggle whatsoever financially. It's all personality issues, right? It's character flaw, but none of it has anything to do with your material life and the financial limitations and constraints that you got to plan for that vacation 8 and 9 months in advance, 6 months in advance. You have to save for it, right? No, that's not in the calculation. And so you have women who see this as just fantasy, but then it buries itself and it burrows into their mind of this is what I should have, this is what I deserve. And that becomes the standard. So it's not just entertainment, it's the standard. And so your average person who can't live that life, that's for the men and the women. They're the ones who don't couple up. They're the ones who have situationships. They're the ones who tell you, I like my freedom. BS, stop coping and be honest. Outliers doing too much talking. The outliers are doing too much talking. And what we have is a bunch of cope talk. Cope dope, if you will. So let's read this from Better You, and then we'll play it again. And Better You says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Better You says, I am the table. Leslie Smash, hysterical. And yeah, she did sound mad aggressive, and let's play it again.
I don't understand why you wouldn't want a woman like me. I am successful, I'm rich, I can fight. I will say it, I love men, thanks.
Yeah.
But I don't love a stupid man. If you can't be with my peace, you can be with the door.
Yeah.
Oh, you're in your masculine area. Well, why don't you get in yours? I'm sick of men telling me, oh, well, you know, you hardcore. Yes, I am.
Can you handle it?
Oh, well, what you bringing to the table? I am the table.
Ugh. And so, back to Better You super chat. I am the table, Leslie Smash, and she did sound like that. But Better You, I understand her anger. You got to remember, like, Leslie Jones is not. She doesn't have that like blonde, blue-eyed, conventional beauty. She's in New York. She's in Hollywood, right? She's around those folks, and you could imagine that she's seeing so many of these people coupled up. She's seeing so many of these people who might have been married for 20 years already, 15, 20 years, right? Leslie Jones, dark skin, Black woman. We remember her comedy name was Big Les. She's around these folks. And I'm not saying she's just around beautiful, conventionally attractive white folks. She's around a certain caliber of folks on her day-to-day. You can imagine how that's playing on her mind. I would like to direct y'all to Kanye West's mom. Whoops. Didn't see that one coming now, did y'all? Didn't she teach Africana studies? Her son got famous, took her around them damn white folks, and now his mom is damn near passing on the operation table because she wanted to do cosmetic surgery, and the surgeons in America told her ass no, and then she went overseas to go do it. Because that beauty thing, especially for women, it burrows in their mind. They can't get it out. You put them around certain people that in our society we've elevated as conventionally attractive. They're not just around those. They're not just watching those people on TV. Now they're around those people. Oh, that's going to destroy them mentally. That's going to destroy them mentally. Especially a Black woman. You put a dark-skinned Black woman around these people. Snoop's daughter. Oops. God damn, Z. Huh? You gonna put them people? Well, goddamn, Z. Raven, goddamn, Z. Stop it, Z. Stop. You gonna put Black children, Black girls around them people, and you don't think that's gonna destroy them mentally? So yeah, Big Les didn't grow up around that. Leslie Jones didn't grow up around that, but she's been in that for what, 2 decades plus? And she's single. Yeah, you better believe it. So Better You, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Huh? Man. So so I am a bit sympathetic to that because I can imagine. We're men. Imagine we had to be around supermodel dudes all day, bodybuilder dudes, supermodel dudes all day. Not washboard stomach, no. 6 and 8 pack abs, bicep, triceps bulging, and you had to be around that all day. You imagine what that would do to you? The only difference is we know that we could look like that with 6 months and 9 months and a year in the gym. Maybe you wouldn't be that bulky. That would take a few more years, but you could start to look like that. You don't have to have the surgery. That's the difference between men. But the ladies want it, and they want it now. So they get on somebody's operating table. And if they resign themselves to never looking like that, you imagine what that does to them psychologically. Yeah, from Africa I came, exactly. Nothing but Tyson Beckfords. You imagine? Idris Elba's, Tyson's, what's the other brother? The Michael B. Jordan's, who else they find attractive? A younger Denzel, Michael Ealy and all these other people. Like, you imagine you had to be around Jesse Williams and them all day, and then you see them coupled up, they running through women, and you over here nobody. Or you gotta be the one to buy a vagina, but they getting the vagina off of GP, Chris Brown and them. Huh? So I can understand where the women are coming from, particularly black women with unconventional beauty, right? You can imagine what that's doing to her. You can imagine what that's doing to Leslie Jones. So I get it. But when you just, that aggression right there, that ain't changing nothing. That is not helping you at all. All it does is say, yeah, she is who we thought she was. They are who we thought they were. She is who we thought she was. When that aggression right there, yep. Oh boy. And then you couple that with that hating ass comment.
I think marriage is legalized slavery.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Say more, because if I'm thinking about slavery and I'm thinking about marriage, there are two different images that come into my
Absolutely
head.
not. I don't know how you don't. A man is, especially if he's expecting you to be a trad wife, he might as well pull out a whip and a chain.
Wow. So there are young people watching who might be wanting to get married. What would you say to them?
Don't
get married.
No.
Okay.
Well, if that's not hating, you tell me what is. Look, I want to be clear. Ladies, you don't have to sign up for marriage. You don't have to sign up for marriage in ways that a predominant amount of men, the majority of men would prefer. That's okay. But I just want you to know that we see your dirty macking and your hate. If you deem it as slavery because you can't get the men to bow or to do the fake ass egalitarian thing, you know, when they provide, protect, and overproduce, but for what? For your presence? Because, and then y'all gonna relabel that egalitarian. Oh, but we're the ones who have the kids. Yeah, but y'all not having that many kids. Oops. Birth rate is under the floor right now. Ladies, you don't have to sign up for it. With that, the men don't have to sign up for your BS either. Talking about that, Kanguru says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Kanguru says, Z, I'm in TJ Maxx and overheard a black woman on the phone says the world is effed because only women are raising kids. Message is spreading. Look, if the masses of us are going to have situationships, and occasionally a woman's going to get pregnant and she's going to keep the kid, right? We already know even the black birth rate in America is under and below replacement level, including the white one. I think what the birth rate in America is, what, 1.6 or some odd? 1.6 per woman, which is once again below the replacement level. Is supposed to be 2.1 to maintain your population. Then yeah, if the women don't want to be wives because they see it as constraining and slavery, as Leslie Jones said, then fine. Then we're just going to bump into each other, pun intended, have our little oops babies. And more often than not, that child will be raised by the mother. And that child would be a complete and total psychological mess up. They might graduate high school and college and go on to even be successful. But when it comes to relationships and pairing, and yeah, they're going to be messed up psychologically because you were raised by mom. Then so be it. Dear ladies, you don't owe the men getting on their program. Just deal with not being on their program. Deal with all the stuff that, for all the ladies that said, well, I ain't even gonna have no children and I won't get married, I'm gonna just freestyle out here. Then deal with that. Most of you will never earn enough to sustain yourself, particularly black women. And that's what it is. Exactly. And Cheryl says the cycle continues, and the cycle continues, and that's what it is. Shrugs. Huh? And the men will find other things to do.
What do men spend their money on if they don't have a girlfriend or a family?
Our hobbies. The men will find other things to do. Huh? So once again, Kunguru, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And let me read Better You's own before we continue. And Better You says, Leslie's problem is she fetishizes white guys, but they don't want her. The leaks showed it. She can't get what she wants, and it makes her angry. And you find that for many black women, even black women who black men find conventionally attractive. Black women just have to come to terms with white men are white men are white men. Non-black men are non-black are non-black. You're not going to be on top of their beauty hierarchy. You could see it incenses so many black women, maybe not all. Maybe not all. Enough. You could see, and you let black women talk, and you could see they're angry, as Better You says, because the white men are not rating them. They're white. They're anti-black. If anything, you're on a bucket list to smash. Yeah, I don't did something with a black girl. Or when they're young and they grow up in certain neighborhoods, maybe they have a little black girl they smashing on. Shout out to Machine Gun Kelly. Shout out to Kid Rock. Oops. But once they get on, once he get on, he leave your ass for a white girl. Y'all talking about the white dudes. So many black women, they're so angry because the white dudes and the Latino dudes ain't rating them. What you thought? Maybe I need to go talk to the Afro pessimist so the Afro pessimist could tell y'all how this go. Huh? It's fascinating. And yes, that's exactly what it was. She was sending her news to white dudes, Mr. Z Ramen. And then there was white dudes that ripped her to shreds. Y'all forgot Russell Simmons' daughter? She was dating a white dude in high school, and then there was another white dude calling her all type of N-word. Huh? The younger one. The one that was out here with the sugar daddy. Black women have to appreciate that the masses of white dudes don't rate y'all like that. It's not the same. Yeah, it's not fair because y'all can get white women, and that's even more reason and more of an incentive for you to be on our program, but you can't do it. Not to save your life. Black men have negative stereotypes that are predominantly a black man negative stereotype. Not black people, but a black man negative stereotype. And black women, too, have negative stereotypes that are primarily and predominantly a black woman negative stereotype. And instead of black women being on black men's program and working with black men, enough of you, not all, enough of you, you say, I'm going to be a woman. I'm going to be a woman. What do you mean, G? I'm going to be accepted by white men. And so many of you just end up being the little plaything for a white dude for a season. Shout out to all you college, you black girls in college, and some of y'all in high school, and some of y'all a little bit outside of college, your first job. You got a little white dude who sit a few cubicles away. Mr. Z done seen it. Sit a few cubicles away, and y'all sneaky link a little bit. You think that's going to turn into something? It don't be turning into anything. So better you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. We know what it is. Huh? Well, damn. Moving along. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat.
Is it ever too soon to receive a gift?
Absolutely not. You should come with a gift.
Angela Simmons says men should bring gifts on first dates.
Why not?
Really?
That's how you court. Yes, show up with a gift.
Okay, what's a respectable first date gift?
Angela Simmons has the internet talking after saying men should show up with a gift on the first date.
I mean, there's tons of designers, there's thoughtful things, there's plane tickets, there's just so many
Plane
ways.
tickets like you get flew out?
It'll be we, because I'll come with a team. But, you know, there's just ways.
We done been talking for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm hearing so many ad-libs from behind. Yes.
I'm just telling you.
We literally had this conversation off camera, and they was like, Cam, with your little cheap behind, don't just because you ain't spending it, that don't mean somebody else.
I mean, yeah, the right man. If people
don't man it.
I'm just saying men have to date within their caliber. Like if it, you know, you gotta. If it makes sense, then that's where you meet the girl at. That's where you meet the woman at.
But I've heard this too. Don't set me up with the expectation that you can't keep up.
You need to keep it up. That's the thing.
That's what she said.
All right, we're back. Let me see, son. Okay, we should be back. Y'all should see me. Okay. Oh, hear me better yet. Yeah, so Angela Simmons, this is making its rounds. I did not hear it again, so we're going to play it one more again. My apologies, y'all. I was trying to bring something up and I wasn't able to. I'm going to try to look for it again, but before we do that, I am going to play this Angela Simmons one more again. My apologies, everyone. Bear with, and here we go.
Is it ever too soon to receive a gift?
Absolutely not. You should come with a gift.
Angela Simmons says men should bring gifts on first dates.
Why not?
Really?
That's how you court. Yes, show up with a gift.
Okay, what's a respectable first date gift?
Angela Simmons has the internet talking after saying men should show up with a gift on the first date.
I mean, there's tons of designers, there's thoughtful things, there's plane tickets, there's just so many
Plane
ways.
tickets like you get flew out?
It'll be we, because I'll come with a team. But, you know, there's just ways.
We done been talking for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm hearing so many ad-libs from behind. Yes.
I'm just telling
you.
you.
We literally had this conversation off camera, and they was like, Cam, with your little cheap behind, don't just because you ain't spending it, that don't mean somebody else.
I mean, yeah, the right man. If people
don't man it.
I'm just saying men have to date within their caliber. Like if it, you know, you gotta. If it makes sense, then that's where you meet the girl at. That's where you meet the woman at.
But I've heard this too. Don't set me up with the expectation that you can't keep up.
You need to keep it up. That's the thing.
That's what she said.
Okay, so the class conversation has arisen again. Pause. Look, Angela Simmons, once again, speaking to Outliers, doing too much talking. Do you know how many women this resonates with and they don't got no damn money? It sounds good. Now, Angela Simmons, who should have been married, I don't know, 15 years ago, was out here with the street dudes. Multiple times. Huh? You should have got married to Little Romeo. Multiple times. Her baby daddy got deleted because she liked street dudes. Then she was dealing with Yo Gotti, street dude. That didn't work out because she's a spoiled brat, asshole. And now she's here talking crap. Because of course she is. Because she doesn't learn. Because she's a spoiled brat. Like the rest of them. Oh, goddamn. Huh? You was out here with street dudes. You like you a street, and hey, look, it ain't nothing wrong with that, but you can't make it work with them because most of them can't afford your ass and your delusions. I guess it's not delusion for you because you grew up with a rich, famous dad, and he made sure to make you a spoiled brat, and now you're still a spoiled brat as a grown ass mother. You're literally living the consequences of being a spoiled brat, and you are still a spoiled brat. Jesus. Ugh. Shout out to the street dudes. Angela Simmons got to end up with one of these. Hey, she got to end up with an athlete or one of you famous rapper singer dudes because yeah. Huh? Then it goes says the Outliers are doing too much damn talking, way too much. Listen to her talk. And as what was Cam Newton saying? All the women in the background in the studio. Yeah, girl. You gotta love it. How many of them got Angela Simmons money? Rich, famous daddy Angela Simmons money. Which one of them got that in the back? Maybe one or two of them. Maybe we don't know. The ladies are making themselves impossible and then throwing a fit because the men are like, oh, damn, this is impossible. And then the men are being badgered by the likes of the Josh Joshuas of the world and the Terry Cruzes of the world and all these other random ass men because we can't afford your asshole daughters and her delusions. Angela Simmons just happens to be a rich and famous one. You know how many women think like Angela Simmons? And then she does the air quotes tax bracket thing. Oh, you gotta love it. Yawn. Then she does the tax bracket thing. Oh, it's so annoying. Date within your tax. Oh boy, date within your tax bracket. And I agree with her. Angela Simmons, is that why you're single? Oops. To all the technocrats, what's the point of equality when the women earn more or they have more education and more money? They say, I'm only dealing with the men that earn as much as me or more. What was the point? Did you tell them when you said equality, you meant societal equality also, where some of them are going to have to marry dudes that don't earn as much as them and be okay with it? And miss us with the emotional labor and domestic labor talk because that's not the reason why they're divorcing. They're divorcing for the money. Whoops. Forget divorcing for the money. They're not getting married to the men because of the money. Can't get divorced if you didn't get married. Angela Simmons, this is your own goddamn fault because you were supposed to be with little Romeo, smart dumbass. Huh? Now you going from street dude to street dude. Good luck on that. You going from street dude to street dude because that's what gets your shiny wet. But then you want the street dude to buy you at the highest level like your daddy did. Good luck on that. Good luck on that one. Huh? Angela Simmons represents so many black women. Obviously, not as rich, not as famous, not with a rich ass dad, right? Their dad wasn't in Run DMC, clearly. Huh? With that, the cost. And then Indigo says, Joseph Ward Simmons did not put all that work in for her to be out here acting like this. Well, she's acting like this. Huh? She's acting like this. Of course she is. Of course she is. You gonna play it one more again, Z? We're gonna play it one more again. I'm trying to find this thing and bring it up, but it's not. Go. Here we go.
Is it ever too soon to receive a gift?
Absolutely not. You should come with a gift.
Angela Simmons says men should bring gifts on first dates.
Why not?
Really?
That's how you court. Yes, show up with a gift.
Okay, what's a respectable first date gift?
Angela Simmons has the internet talking after saying men should show up with a gift on the first date.
I mean, there's tons of designers, there's thoughtful things, there's plane tickets, there's just so many
Plane
ways.
tickets like you get flew out?
It'll be we, because I'll come with a team. But, you know, there's just ways.
We done been talking for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm hearing so many ad-libs from behind. Yes.
I'm just telling you.
We literally had this conversation off camera, and they was like, Cam, with your little cheap behind, don't just because you ain't spending it, that don't mean somebody else.
I mean, yeah, the right man. If people
don't man it.
I'm just saying men have to date within their caliber. Like if it, you know, you gotta. If it makes sense, then that's where you meet the girl at. That's where you meet the woman at.
But I've heard this too. Don't set me up with the expectation that you can't keep up.
You need to keep it up. That's the thing.
That's what she said.
And the difference between what Angela Simmons said and what this young lady said is what now?
So if you're making $50,000, don't date. I'm just being for real. You're not ready to date.
Again, I'm with you.
You're not ready to. You're not ready to date because courtship costs.
Okay.
Everything costs. Okay. You can go for 22 walks in the park. Eventually, shorty is gonna need a sip of something. She gonna be thirsty. This bottle of water is $3.
Huh? The difference between what Angela Simmons said and what this young lady said is what now? There is no difference. There is no difference. Different class, maybe, but the message is the message. Huh? Now, I think the sister looked good too. I think the sister looked better too, but that's besides the point. I always thought the sister looked better, but even when they used to have the show back in the day, I always thought the sister looked better, but that's besides the point. Right? Everybody else in my circle thought Angela looked better. I was like, yes! But remember, the sister nose is in the air too. She's just been with whoever she's with. She's been with that person for a while. Quite frankly, I think if you would have interviewed a sister, she's on the same type of time. She just may not say it out loud. She might be worse, to be fair. Huh? I told y'all put microphones in front of these people. The internet will expose us all. Once y'all start putting microphones in front of these celebrities and these, especially the female celebrities, y'all start hearing all type of toxic crap, sexist, misandrous crap. I put money to sisters on the same type of time. Huh? And earlier I was speaking about the ladies being sold a particular lifestyle since they were girls. Y'all hold on to all my day ones. Y'all have watched this a zillion times, but I gotta play it for the newbies. We have a few new subscribers and whatnot. So like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. But thank you button, hype button for the replay squad, and excuse me, y'all. And what's the word I was looking for? Not super chat. Cashapp. Yeah, that one. So we're gonna play this for some of y'all that have watched this a million times. But for those of you who have never seen this before, pay attention and listen. Especially for those of us about 45-ish and younger. This is going to inform you a bit about why you're interacting with certain women and they talking foodie call and they talking all this crazy stuff, right? Not even talking foodie call. They're engaging in foodie call and they're looking for men who are going to pay for them exorbitantly. This is another clip. I played the clip with the rom-coms. There's another clip that's going to tell you why you're running into 40-year-olds and 35-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 25-year-olds who are just hyper materialistic, and they're looking for a man who's going to pay for them at the highest level, exorbitantly. Play the clip, Z.
If this struck you as unusual when you were watching the series, that's because it was. In scholar Richard Bush's study of 262 so-called domestic situation comedies from 1946 to 1990 at least, he found that just 11% featured heads of household who were working class, i.e. doing blue-collar, clerical, or service work. Malcolm's father, and future drug lord as you may remember, plays a low-level clerical worker. This is despite the fact that most American workers qualify as working class. Back in 1976, scholars Gerbner and Gross addressed this still relevant trend, calling the exclusion of working class families from television a symbolic annihilation of America's economic realities. The problem is especially bad on children's television, where a scant 2% of characters are depicted as working class. Now, this isn't exactly a coincidence. Showing stable middle and upper class families is good for business, especially if you're making a family-friendly sitcom. And the reason is simple: commercials. According to scholars Zieglinde Lemke and Wibke Schneiderman, as a form of mass entertainment financed by selling commercials to middle-class consumers, it seems logical that the predominant mode of representing class presupposes middle-class normativity. That is to say, watching the kids' skins stick to the seat in a rundown car with a broken radiator doesn't exactly put you in the mood to splurge on that cool new vacuum cleaner or a fancy bottle of cologne. In comparison, watching the Huxtables hang out in a brownstone while modeling yet another sick sweater from a seemingly endless pile brings viewers a sense of economic plenty that they might not feel in their day-to-day lives. Now, obviously, Malcolm in the Middle wasn't the first show to peddle an economic angst.
I'll tell you what they're going to pay you. They're going to pay you what all jobs pay. Less than you're worth and just enough to keep you crawling back for more.
We saw this as far back as the 50s with the Honeymooners, while the mid-70s brought Laverne and Shirley, and the late 80s saw the debut of America's most famous working-class family on Roseanne. But for anyone with enough business savvy, it just didn't seem financially smart to make a family or children's show about bringing your leftover egg breakfast to school for lunch.
What do you have? Leftover eggs from breakfast?
Which brings us to Disney. In a moment, that is. First, we have to look at 1980, when a broad cultural phenomenon began, the Reagan-era loosening of restrictions on entertainment regulations, including advertising during children's television programming. Now, after a major 70s-era crackdown on advertising to kids, you could only show a limited amount of commercials during children's programming, and were also required to produce educational and informative content for kids. When President Reagan and co. had essentially signed or vetoed all that away by 1984, things changed rapidly. A year after regulation, all of the top 10 best-selling toys had their own TV show. While child-centric product placement had occurred during television's early days, that was really no comparison to this new reality. The insane proliferation of TV character-aligned merchandising was dubbed the Strawberry Shortcake Strategy by Tom Engelhardt. That's thanks to the 1980 show's explosions of licensed dolls, video games, stickers, lunchboxes, and so on. And that reliance on branding would continue to increase from the 90s and on, as corporations realized what a valuable consumer demographic children could be. And though a 1990 congressional bill had reinstated some restrictions on such advertising, the industry had been changed forever. Increasingly, merchandising centered on children's television characters began blurring
There's the good part.
Entertainment and just plain consumerism. And we're not trying to demonize your favorite Lizzie McGuire lunchbox. It's just a little weird. Which is why families like Malcolm in the Middle aren't the norm for places like the Disney Channel. While they didn't start making original live-action shows until the late 90s, they came in hard, quickly crafting what journalists Julia Borston and Alinda Wheat call a tween machine, in which pre-teenagers, and in this case primarily girls, were targeted through lifestyle marketing like the world had never seen. As scholar Morgan Genevieve Blue notes, the marketing was
lifestyle marketing,
programming decisions themselves, explaining that Disney Channel personnel worked closely with Disney Consumer Products and Disney Music Group to extend the network's fictional narratives across a variety of media and merchandise for tween girls. This was in order to effectively creep into the lives and life spaces of kids beyond the TV network. And that's according to a presentation given by President and CCO of Disney branded television, Gary Marsh himself. And the way they did it, mostly through appeals to girl consumers. As Blue explains, characters like Hannah Montana promote representations of aspirational celebrity and teen life via fashion and dress-up and musical performances. And this way, according to Blue, franchisable girl star personae both reflects and perpetuates a neoliberal turn in the United States, which privileges a performative and celebrity-oriented form of girlhood as the contemporary ideal, i.e. a girl who has all the products she needs to look and behave a certain way. In the aughts, this often took the form of sparkly clothes, as best seen in Disney's unprecedentedly large expansion into Walmart stores with clothing and lifestyle lines specifically marketed to middle and working class girls. And by 2014, Disney was racking in $3.99 billion of revenue in consumer products alone, driven largely by Disney Channel merchandise. The franchise element of the Disney Channel explains why programmers need to make shows about securely middle-class families. Doing so both doesn't alienate working-class viewers, while also painting a fantasy of magical middle-classdom where money is never a problem and consumption is a high priority. That is to say, the family on Wizards of Waverly Place may run a humble sandwich shop, but their apartment sure doesn't look that way. As Blue puts it, Disney's texts, products, and promotions may allay anxieties over vast systematic inequalities, in large part by painting an image of a world where families aren't struggling to make ends meet. This, of course, requires ignoring realities, like the fact that 14.4% of American children were growing up below the poverty line as of 2019.
I actually am worried about the future because I just want us to be good and don't have to worry about
how we're going to get the next thing or how we're going to get food.
Of course, it's not just Disney and it's not just tween girls being targeted. Cartoon shows like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and The Smurfs were extended through a huge amount of licensed merchandising tie-ins, ranging from films to comics and books to computer games. Scholar Marcia Kinder observed back in 1991 that this transmedia intertextuality effectively eliminates any distinction between the original text, i.e. the show, and the spin-off text and commodities that bank on the show's success, which may be a large reason why children's and family television typically finds its comfort zone in middle to upper middle class bliss, where the biggest problem is your family photo shoot coming out squeaky clean. And there's nothing wrong with that. We love these shows, but it does present a skewed perspective of what American life is like. As Stile Sakira and Larry Osimensa,
a skewed perspective
that continues to mold the public consciousness, in part by fostering a single-minded interpretation of superficial symbolism as an indicator of status and quality. That is to say, by basically suggesting that the right house, the right toy, or the right sparkly outfit can bring you happiness and cement your status as happily middle class, TV reinforces a materialistic status quo. No.
Yeah. That is what y'all are running into in the dating scene for all of us millennials and Gen Z, and even some of you younger Xers. That's what you're running into. It don't matter if she had cable. It don't matter if she watched Disney. That's not the point. That's what y'all are running into. Women who were indoctrinated, now they're women. They were girls or at least young women back in the day, indoctrinated with this hyper materialism where they find their humanity through consuming. And yeah, it rubbed off on the men a little bit too. Pause. But it had nothing on how this was cocaine for women, for girls. Huh? As they said, you can't film these things with the working class and working poor. How you gonna sell that $300, $400 vacuum, that $300, $200 and $7 vacuum, when on the television show you showing them struggling or living a regular life where they got a budget for things? Huh? This is not good times. Yeah. Huh? Thank you. From Africa Came says, find their femininity in consuming. Oh, man. So appreciate what Angela Simmons is pushing is that. And here go a better version of the clip I played earlier.
So if you're making $50,000, don't date.
What?
I'm just being for real. You're not ready to date.
Again, I'm with you when
you're not ready to date. You're not ready to date because courtship costs.
Okay.
Everything costs.
Okay.
You can go for 22 walks in the park. Eventually, shorty is gonna need a sip of something. She gonna be thirsty. This bottle of water is $3 in Atlanta. Let's not play. So if you don't have any expendable cash, don't date. And whatever that looks like for you, you might only make $50,000, but you live in a shoe, and now you got expendable cash. Or get you a bottom of the barrel bitch that's gonna date you when you have no money. If she doesn't have the expectation, and I'm gonna tell you this right now, enjoy it while it lasts, because eventually you're gonna wanna run. Because she doesn't stretch you, she doesn't make you the man that you need to become. She allows you to be this stagnant dude in the same jeans for days. You know what I'm saying?
Be cutting up.
I'm
You
just
talk about.
Yeah. It's not just Angela Simmons, it's random women. Huh? Y'all forgot. Remember that clip is what, 2 years old-ish? And she's saying the same thing, low-key, that Angela Simmons is saying. Minus maybe the gift on the first date, but don't think she's against it either. Play the Angela Simmons clip one more again, Z, and then we'll move along. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Continuing.
Is it ever too soon to receive a gift?
Absolutely not. You should come with a gift.
Angela Simmons says men should bring gifts on first dates.
Why not?
Really?
That's how you court. Yes, show up with a gift.
Okay, what's a respectable first date gift?
Angela Simmons has the internet talking after saying men should show up with a gift on the first date.
I mean, there's tons of designers, there's thoughtful things, there's plane tickets, there's just so many
Plane
ways.
tickets like you flew out?
It'll be we, because I'll come with a team. But, you know, There's just ways.
We done been talking for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm hearing so many ad-libs from behind. Yes.
I'm just telling you.
We literally had this conversation off camera, and they was like, Cam, with your little cheap behind, don't just because you ain't spending it, that don't mean somebody else.
I mean, yeah, the right man. If people
don't man it.
I'm just saying
don't man it.
Designer and plane tickets on the first date. Now, yes, we're talking about Angela Simmons, right? Hip hop royalty, the child of hip hop royalty. True indeed. Understandable. But this is the goal here. Plane tickets and luxury goods. Luxury brands and plane tickets. First date. Ooh. Good luck out there, y'all. Good luck. You gotta love it. Yes, she is the daughter of hip hop royalty. With that, absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. But let's read this from Leon. And Leon says, Leslie Jones just needs her own Studman Graham. Yeah. Look, I mean, yeah, she could pull an Oprah. And I don't know if Leslie Jones is necessarily against that. That remains to be seen. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. But, you know, Leslie Jones, she wants a white dude. Right? Or I think her preference right now is white men. And she's in Hollywood. Right? From my understanding, I think she stays in New York. I don't think she lives in LA. Either way, Mrs. Uraman, she's going to have to pay for peeing. And I don't think that's what she necessarily wants. Not on that level. So maybe not. Maybe she's not against a Stedman situation. Maybe. But if you want a white dude and Leslie Jones looks how Leslie Jones looks, and Leslie Jones' attitude and demeanor is Leslie Jones' attitude and demeanor, you're going to be paying him a lot. You're going to be paying him a lot, right? Especially when this is your attitude.
I don't understand why you wouldn't want a woman like me. I am successful. I'm rich. I can fight. I will say it. I love men. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. But I don't love a stupid man. If you can't be with my peace, you can be with the door. Yeah. Oh, you're in your masculine area. Well, why don't you get in yours? I'm sick of men telling me, oh, well, you know, you hardcore. Yes, I am.
Can you handle it?
Oh, well, yeah. What you bringing to the table? I am the table.
Yep. And thank you for the super chat, Leon. Thank you for the super chat. Man, right? So, and to do Trell a solid, because Trell is one of my day ones, we're going to review this video. And I've seen this brother before, that Trell sent me earlier. And so we're going to review this, and then we'll bring a panel up for a little bit. Continuing.
If you try to lead them, they will tell you you're controlling. You can tell a bitch to put on a seatbelt, and she gonna be like, you ain't my daddy, who you talking to? If you set boundaries, this is what they will tell you. They're gonna tell you you're insecure. You say, hey, you dressing a little too provocative. Oh, you insecure, I should be able to wear what I want. Baby, you shouldn't stay out in the streets. It's 2 a.m. Oh, I'm a grown woman. I can do whatever I want. You too insecure for me. They gonna just swipe on to the next. All right, if you disagree with women, you say, as soon as you disagree with them and say something back, you a motherfucking sassy mom. If you just criticize how a woman behave or critique how a woman behave, this is especially true with black women.
You're gay is what he put last. So shout out to that brother. That's the brother that be giving away the puppies, right? Is it pits or I can't remember what bulldogs or something. I can't remember what dogs he be giving away, but he gives away and I think he travels the country or he travels different places and he gives away the little puppies. So shout out to him. Am I following him on Instagram? I don't remember, but yeah, I've seen a bunch of his videos, and yeah, so shout out to that brother. But it's true, and we know. Look, they done took feminism and flipped it to it's a woman's world now. Men just bow down, protect, provide, and shut up. That's your job now, particularly as a black man. That is how women have taken feminism. We gotta own it. Dear America, dear the West, you've got to own it. The way your daughters took feminism is that now it's cosmic justice time, and now it's their time to stomp on men's nuts, and now it's men's turn to protect, provide, and shut up. No, that's not what they're taking from. That is what they're taking from it, and they demand that you, as technocrats and as social designers and as quote-unquote leaders, break us for them. Break the men for them. Make the men bow down, kiss ass, worship. Huh? Man. So, as that brother said, you're a sassy monster. You're some type of gay. You can't look. The ladies want to do what they want to do, free of consequence, and that's just what it is. The ladies want to do what they want to do, free of consequence. And their anger is that the men aren't playing ball. The men aren't playing. Not enough men anyway. And so you see women throwing their temper tantrum. They would rather be single, and who wants to be with average anyway, and all of this weirdo talk. For look, the men aren't playing ball. Make them play ball, technocrats. Make them do what we want them to do. Right? So that's where we are. So, all right, y'all. So let me put this link for anybody that want to hop on. I am going to be walking, so we will be streaming for a little bit. Let's see how long this battery can last. And y'all file in because Mr. Z is not going to be here too long, and we'll see. Right? So there you go. We'll get a little panel going for as long as this battery lasts. And yeah, so y'all file in and like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat, and yeah, I'm just waiting for the first person to go so I could like start making noise and stuff at walking because it's gonna be shoe stepping and stepping on leaves and whatnot, and y'all already know. Y'all will be with Mr. Z on this walk. The stream will not be that long today. All right. I guess while I wait. Oh no, I did not bring that up. Okay, y'all give Z a second. Let me see if I can bring that up. Give me a second, y'all. Okay, that should be coming up in a minute. Walking to Popeyes. I am not walking to Popeyes, Dylan. That's hysterical. I told y'all I haven't eaten Popeyes in like, it's over 2 months now. I haven't eaten Popeyes in over 2 months, believe it or not. I know. Z, you haven't eaten Popeyes in 2 months? Not Popeyes, not cheating even with Wingstop. Starman says earning that spicy wing combo. Nope. All right, I've been pretty clean. I had a McDonald's breakfast sandwich the other day. That was the first time I ate anything like that in at least over about a month and a half, maybe a month and a half. Yeah. So yeah. It's been a little while. Nope, no KFC, no nothing. Nope. Yeah. So we're gonna play this real quick because this also speaks to who is and who isn't getting married for all the day ones and all the folks that haven't watched this. I've spammed this a lot over the past few weeks. So we're going to play this.
So if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Alexander. Before YouTube, I spent 8 years researching, consulting, and teaching about the job market. My whole deal is basically understanding what's going on with young adults and money in the United States. And when you look into the data about wealth, you find that American millionaires live very different lives than finance bros would have you believe. According to even the most conservative surveys, American millionaires are nearly 3 times more educated than the general population, with over half of them having at least a master's degree. Not only that, but 70% of millionaires are not even entrepreneurs. They are employees who work for somebody else, but who manage to save money and make smart investments over several decades. And just to add insult to injury for the more red-pilly finance bros, 90% of American millionaires are married, with over 2/3 of them never getting a divorce. That means that the typical American millionaire is a highly educated employee who makes boring investments over the long term and who is deeply loyal to their family and friends. But yet, despite that truth, since the 70s, there has been a well-funded army of authors and now content creators trying to convince young adults to drop out of school, to become some obnoxious alpha male that hates women, to start businesses with extremely high failure rates like real estate and dropshipping, and to put money in risky investments that also have extremely high failure rates, like cryptocurrencies and NFTs.
But the part that I wanted y'all to focus on, because of course he was going to say pretty much call those of us in the Black Manosphere and Manosphere space is sexist. Of course, y'all should have known that red pill insult was coming. Is the part of who's getting married and staying married. The millionaires. But of course they are. Of course they are, right? So, I'm trying to see if any of y'all want to come up. No, Leon, no one. Give me a second. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. All right, we got Vince up. What's going on, mister?
Man, chilling, man. I am at my dusty blue collar job, listening in, and I was on the way here earlier, and you said something that was key about these kids on the internet looking for answers about the situations, because that's what Google for, right? Google is for research and trying to find your answers, and you go to a reliable resource, or you're trying to cleave to some similitude of honesty or truth. And the one thing I grew up hearing when I said something I was contrary to what I was programmed to know is, oh, you think you're smart. So now you got a whole network of men who are sharing, some experiences. And that just exasperates that thing. Like, you're supposed to be, what's interesting about slavery, right, is that they only wanted you to know what they wanted you to know. And you travel outside of that. The thing is, information is one of those things where it keeps you in power and control. And once something goes on or something that goes beyond someone's power and control, now you find panic. So if there wasn't no type of um, invisible, a visible fence, or what we ought to be, known to know or be exposed to, or be aware to, we wouldn't be here. So it's kind of like what we're looking at is the invisible wall of mental slavery. And you know, I think it's reasonable for the rationality of how we all got here.
Wait, when you say that the rationale, okay, go into that, like, because I mean, I don't know. I think, to be honest with you, I think, bro, motherfuckers got priced out, bro. People got,
Oh
I
yeah.
think, like, we just have to like own it, and like, I think the women don't want no struggle financially whatsoever. So if you, in a weird way, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not, okay. If you don't catch a woman with a oops baby early on, and this is for the young men also, if you don't catch them with a oops
Yeah.
baby early on, what ends up happening is like people really start looking at their finances in their life and their trajectory in life. And I think what ends up happening for men and for women increasingly is like, well, am I going to bring my kids into some world where I'm going to be struggling financially, or it's not going to be the easy go at it? And I'm not saying all, I'm saying enough. I don't even know if it's most. I would say enough of us are thinking like that, and it is having some, adverse effect on your birth rate, because young people are looking like, do I want to bring children into this world?
But Z.
And go ahead.
But didn't we
Go
get
ahead. Go
priced
ahead.
out when we had those didn't we get priced out when we had those little worker camps, when they had like the worker cities, and there was like built-in industry and stuff like that?
What do you mean the
You
worker?
get
Oh,
what
you
I'm
mean
saying?
you
When
mean
they had
I know what you're talking about. It's
yeah.
not called worker city. It's called um damn somebody gonna say it in the comments. The worker towns, the factory
Company
towns,
towns.
the company
Yes,
towns.
company
Yes,
towns.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
low key, America
yeah.
was founded off of that.
So
If we're gonna be honest, low key, that's what America was founded on. But
exactly.
we gonna leave. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So we got to know the foundation of things, to know the history of things, to know what's going on and how and why, because things shift over time. The paradigm shift, the culture shift, the technology shift. Like, 1,000 years ago, we'd be having souped up camels or something like that. The camels with the, we'd be bragging about how we got the little shackles and all that other stuff and everything. We wouldn't be talking. We'd be having car talk. We'd be having camel talk or horse talk, right? Same type of function, different type of medium. So when we're talking about how things are financial, things like everything, we got to look at the root of how things got to where we are and kind of see, oh, no wonder why it's like that, because this came from this. So someone doesn't have the historical lens to see how and why things the way they are, how and why we got priced out. Because look at the root. These areas, these commercial areas and stuff like that, they're the grandchildren of company town. So when we're talking about these aristocrats and things like that, not knowing the dynamics of how and why things are the way they are, and we got aspirational aristocrats saying, how come I don't have this and things like that, not seeing that they are in a matrix. I mean, they're in a company town, and they wonder why things are the way they are. You don't even have an understanding of the system
So
and
in other
things
words, you're
where you
talking
are
about.
and functioning.
So are you saying that what we're dealing with are people that now control the system that don't even appreciate the building blocks of said system?
Yes, the history of it. They just said, man, give me the keys. I'm gonna learn how to stop, and I learn how to stop. And crashing in the walls and running people over and stuff like that. And then you get what I mean? They got the keys or something, don't
So
even
in other
know.
words, you gave your 14-year-old the keys to the car without teaching them how to drive, and you just letting them drive.
All vibes. No technique, just vibes.
I don't know if we're all the way there. I get what you're saying. I will say this, for our elites and our technocrats and whatnot, they don't appreciate why cities don't burn. They don't
Yeah.
appreciate. I think I'll take it there. I think they got way too comfortable with spitting in our face and insulting us, and then trying to balance that with fake ass motivational talk and ideas of upward mobility in America that actually have stagnated decades ago for the most part. And so now they're still selling us that America and the city, the city on a hill. They're still selling us that, but that's not exactly where
Yeah.
we are anymore, right? And
No,
so
we're
they're
not.
going to continue to highlight like the folks that do make it, especially celebrities for Black people, but they're going to continue to highlight that. And that's their way of saying, look, people do make it from the bottom to the top. And so, bro, I this shit is just not sustainable. I think where we are now is just folks that like they don't appreciate why cities don't burn. And because you pretty much killed the upward mobility for the masses, and now the class structure is calcifying. And well, you're gonna have to deal with this. And I maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but especially across the West and especially in America, yeah, hey, you go to me. You're gonna have to deal with this, and sooner rather than later, of people finally saying, "F it." If I can't afford to eat, or if I can't afford to live a modicum of some type of comfortable life, right? And it's not all of us. It don't even got to be most of us. It just got to be enough of us that say, screw it. If I got to feel the pain, everybody's gonna have to feel the pain. Like I said, it doesn't have to be most of us. It doesn't have to be all of us. It just have to be enough people to say screw it. And none of us know what's gonna exactly the tipping point. Nobody knows what's gonna spark that. No one knows. It could be something big. It could be something small. Pause. But no one knows what's gonna spark that. My fear is when that sparks, it's just gonna be complete. Let the bodies hit the floor, right?
Man,
And I'll pause right there. Go ahead.
Malcolm Gladwell wrote a real good book about that. He actually wrote two. You know who Malcolm Gladwell is, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Canadian dude, the super fair skin. I think he's Black, but he's super fair skin, passing as dude. Yeah.
He's a Canadian Jamaican. He's what Drake wanna be. So Malcolm Gladwell wrote two good books, and one of my professors gave me one. The
Didn't he write the book Outliers too? Funny enough, but that's my title. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the second book I was getting to. So he talked about these social phenomena, these two things that you're talking about. I recommend you go get those books, both of them, Outliers, and the tipping point. Because you're talking about how epidemics spread and stuff like that. And what you also said about saying it is that these people who's in charge of social programs and stuff like that, who they're doing what we figured out what Lil Wayne did to our culture. They're exploiting these icons, and they're also now that we're in this technological age, is using parasocial relationships of celebrities and stuff like that for aspiration. Now, this could be you too, even though you didn't do the type of groundwork or have the ancestry to be here. You can still have this attitude because that's how they, to be successful, you need to have this attitude, or you need to behave this way. Never mind that their great grandfather did this or something like that, or generational wealth or something like that. So it's misleading people by giving them the wrong anchor of what's holding where, and they're parasailing in a whole different direction, thinking that going in that direction is going to get them this way.
Wait. I missed that end part. I'm sorry. I was in a kind of a dead zone. Go ahead.
So they're trying to show people how to sail or live life, like sail on the boat, SAIL, but not really telling them the reins of where and how to go. And they're thinking that they're doing things right and going in one way, but they're really going in another way. So if I'm overspending, I'm overdoing this, and I'm buying this so I could fit with a class or something like that to be like this said rapper or this said social influencer or stuff like that. But I'm not really getting the game, like how Black Matt Walsh, his father and him on the restaurant or something, and then he passed away allegedly. There was like a inheritance or something like that and everything. And he said, "Man, I got it like this and did it like this." So I'm telling you, it's like we talk about what Dame Dash talking about. I took the money and flipped it. They're not really telling them how they did it. They just telling people what to do and not really giving them the honest.
Well, Dame, we have a pretty good idea of what we have a pretty good idea of what Dame did to flip the money. I ain't gonna say it, but if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm. But they're not really giving up the gems. They're giving things that look like the gems to go have people go this way and give them hope and give them these similitudes of having people think that they're going to, just like how last week we talked about how those Gen X people Gen X, the Generation X, the Cosby different world generation, right before them around them was told go to college. Never mind these hard skills; they're going to be for the second class people and stuff like that. Never mind having a skill while you're in school or something like that. Just do it like this, not knowing that that money will keep you on give you a foundation and have you be able to be self-sufficient when you're not working, and it help you have these hard skills when you're able to do stuff around the house, so you will be a more effective person. So we're told, the program is socially told to lean away from here and go towards here to be aspirational, not taking the foundational and functional things to make you versatile, and now you're boxed in.
I, I, you know what? To be sympathetic to the boomers and the silent generation, who are our parents largely, and but some of you Gen Z, the older Xers, they didn't see this coming. They didn't see this coming. They thought, America was going to keep on this trajectory, and we were going to be the shining city on the hill forever. And America's moving up the value added chain, and so factory work was going to go overseas, and now it was Americans' job to be like office workers, right? So
Yeah.
the way you showed that you had arrived, especially as a Black person, is you don't do shit like that. You don't do manual labor. You don't do stewardship things. And, this is a conversation I had with a homegirl of mine a couple of days ago. And and to be fair, you can see it. It's not necessarily a
You sound
convenience for
far.
that.
You sound far.
Oh well, I'm really that right now. So my apologies. Hopefully, you guys can make out what I'm saying. And I know my background is going to be a little weird. I'm walking. So yeah. And we spoke, and the idea is like only the lesser of us do things with our hands, unless it's something really artistic or something that's super lucrative. And I understand it. I understand, but once again, the fallacy of a history or a society that continues to move in an upward trajectory in a certain direction, right? Up to the right. All the graphs are supposed to go up to the right forever. And that's just not how the world works. And it's never been how the world works. And so now that you're having this kind of different era where some of that automation and some of that technology, funny enough, ironically enough, is kicking some of the same folks in the offices in the ass and taking some of their jobs. And, and we're going to have to reevaluate. We're going to have to reevaluate. Did we need all of those people to go to college? Did we have to make everything a college degree program? And that, you're speaking to someone who's been considering going back to school for some years now, right? So, I'm not even anti higher education. What I am saying is we got too comfortable with a certain okay, I'm sorry, I really coughing. I must have to me off. But yeah, no, we got too comfortable with the status quo. I think that's why we are where we are now. Hopefully you guys were able to make that out. But go ahead, please.
So what I think what it is, because now let's look into the history of how we got here, because we got to talk about, we got to go play by play with some things from the 50s to the 60s, where we're trying to integrate and show that we're capable of going into the workforce and stuff like that and everything, because we was trying to do basically upward mobility. There's two types of upward mobility: intergenerational, intragenerational. When intrageneration is you're trying to go up, do better, like than where you are right now, and intergenerational is doing better than your grandparents, stuff like that, and everything. So when you're trying to aspire for aristocracy or a higher class or something like that, you try to do these things, not just marriage, because that's one way of upward mobility. That's kind of like the easy way out of contracting your way out. But going to go get an education, or my grandparents were a sharecropper, or my father was a smithman, or this. But it was like you look at your family, you say you're trying to do better. So sometimes when you don't have the full information, you don't have the full scope of these things. Now you're the first person in the room or second person in the room. Now you're either getting trick knowledge, or you're not given the whole game, but you still bring it home as if you have the whole game. So I can only imagine where that led in the 50s and 60s and 70s, where they was telling Gen X, do this, be like this, we're not doing this no more, we're doing this. Or someone said, I want to do this like my grandfather. He said, we're not doing that because we're trying to aspire up, not knowing that there was still utility in that. So we can't really blame them because when you're one generation or even two generations in a already declining system or a system that really didn't give you the whole manual, like we talked about how the wealthy have a different strategy where we talk about two wings on the same bird where they're using both of these strategies to get ahead, but they're not sharing the game of what they're doing and how they're doing. They give you the throw off. So
You
that
definitely can't expect them to share the game. That's not gonna happen. Go ahead.
exactly. So if they're not sharing the game and you're going back to people as if you are the wise one and you have the game, now you know what I mean. You're the smartest misled person in your community. You telling everybody this how we doing this, what we doing, da 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 da. So now you got a whole community of people who are influence other people. This whole tipple point situation where you're coming back with some game or you think of game and telling people this is not what we're doing, this is what we're doing, not thinking about, or even in that sense, being myopic, not knowing where it's going to take us 40, 50 years. What happened when we take vocational schools outside of schools? What happened when we take the instruments outside of school? What's that going to look like 30, 40, 50 years from now? I don't think us as a culture, as a race, as a community, whatever, is thinking like these other communities where they're thinking 150 years, 200 years ahead. And they're trying to keep and maintain something because we're building something. And we're just trying to get the car to cut on. We're just trying to get the ignition to cut on. We're not thinking about, what my transmission going to look like 500,000 miles from now. Get what I mean?
Yeah. But like I said, we have to appreciate and accept that the elites are gonna engage in fashionable things, whether knowingly or knowingly, right? And what that means is to throw you off. What that means is to give you, dope cocaine, right? And especially if that's what you want, right? If that's how you speak, right? So like we have to expect them to do that. And I'm not surprised. Like, I've been railing against this on my channel for a while now, which is like elite feminists selling women on decent TikTok and you're supposed to be married. Like, right? Like for the good and bad of it all, they're married. And they're gonna tell you about how their husband's character, but what they won't tell you is about their husband's education and money. That's the reason why they married him. Fuck the character
Z,
part. That's bullshit. Yeah, go ahead.
they ain't gonna be no generational wealth if there's no next generation. Where that money gonna go?
Yeah. I don't know if y'all can hear that. That's my watch telling me that I did a mile already. Yeah, keep it going. But yeah, I'm not trying to do three before we end it out. But yeah, better now. What's going on,
Yeah.
better?
So
Well, better you was
oh,
here. He
he
jumped off,
dropped.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He dropped. He probably come
Okay.
back up hopefully.
Yep.
'Cause he probably heard you like, what the hell is he doing? But
But yeah, no,
but
I don't expect them to do anything more than what they're doing. Go ahead.
it's like the immature little cousin who look. Think about this. If it's like being the little younger cousin who you're trying to pull a trick on. Like in those movies where they say, "Oh, girl, this hair, this makeup look good. You should put this on." So you can feel more included or feel like you're in a class or whatever. But they really setting you up. So what did I look like when I'm giving you information? Like, hey, try this, do this. And you out here looking like what they'll call like in the movie a schmuck.
The movie that's called what?
The Dinner for Schmucks.
Oh no, I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's
Go
a
ahead.
movie where they had like all these weird dweeby people come to a party for their entertainment. And there was like the weird office person or whatever like that, and they had them come like the yearly humiliation ritual that they did. It had to do with some 40-year-old virgin in it. 40-year-old
Oh,
virgin in it.
okay. Yeah, what's his name?
And
Steve
the
Carell. I
dude
think
from
I think that's his name.
the dude with the beard, yeah, the dude with the beard from say it again.
Oh, I love that. I think the dude name is called what? Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell. Steve Carell's in that movie. So what does that look like 50, 60 years ago when you're trying to, oh, damn near 70 years ago now, when you're trying to Juan's great grandfather or Keisha's great grand.
Yeah, I think you went out. I think you went out.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Now we
Oh,
can hear you. Now we can hear, and I can hear you clearer. I thought it was
oh,
me for a second. I was like, I was mute. I was like, okay, maybe they can hear Vince, but I was just stay mute. And then and when I saw you pop back up, I was like, okay, then it wasn't.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So what is it when you're given when you're being misled 50, 60 years ago, you're running with this because you gave this person was a authority or something, and you just running with it blind so you could have class aspiration. And they say stop doing this, do this, and now you're telling the kids do this because you're modeling their behavior and stuff like that. And now and then you know how our people are being staunch Christians and stuff like that. You want to do what I told you. now now you're being coerced and standing away from doing something, and then now you're doing something else.
For real. Sure. What's going on, Benny?
Better you came back
Damn,
and
he
left
dropped
again.
again. Yeah, he dropped off again. Damn, Benny. I thought I was in a dead zone. Benny, you guys, Benny, you dropping like a. No, wait, that's him
Better
again. I think. Let's see if he can. Go ahead, Benny. Before you drop again, what's up with you?
better you acting like a deadbeat.
Hey, my bad, man. As soon as I hopped up, I kept getting phone calls.
Oh, it's phone calls. Okay. What's up with you?
Nothing much, man. I just got off the bike trail, man. So I missed like the last 5 minutes, so my bad. I'll just hop in.
No, that's okay. What do you think about the subject? Outliers doing too much damn talking between Angela Simmons, between her, Leslie Jones, Joshua. Shout out to the comedian Joshua. I don't have no problem with dude. I actually like his comedy, but like, bro, we need to stop talking like women don't exist when we get into these conversations. Y'all talk about the voice of the men in a vacuum. It drives me absolutely insane.
So it's one of those things where they're outliers. They definitely are doing too much talking, but they're speaking the language of Hodem. And I hate that so many young ladies listen to people like this. And how did Yvette Cornell put it? They're being taught to speak the language of exploitation, and they don't even realize it. Like, there's so many implications in how these people were talking. Like, you say that a guy has to be able to do all of these things, and when you talk about what a good man is, you say nothing of character. So therefore, would you be with Hitler if Hitler had the money?
I don't know if that's where Josh is, and I don't know if that's where Leslie Jones is. Angela Simmons, on the other hand, maybe. Go ahead.
Leslie's whole thing is she ain't the white dudes, and she ain't, just being frank, like she ain't they speed. Yeah, they might have fun with her, they might toss her around a little bit, but they ain't trying to be with her. And what you're seeing with her is that crash out, because she's done a lot of things to become, for lack of a better term, an attractive man. But the problem with that is most niggas ain't gay. So because of that,
I agree.
She keeps running into that brick wall of, yo, I want to be able to get this particular type of dude, and now it's kind of like you said, it's like, well, you can't fire me, I quit. Yeah, okay.
Hey, better you.
You wasn't on the schedule, no way. Yeah, what's up, Vince?
She is the brick wall.
Real talk
So
though,
she's
I actually
wait. Vince, but my bad, Betty. Are you saying she running into herself?
No, but we can say that too.
Okay, go ahead, Betty. You were gonna say something.
I was gonna say I actually feel sorry for her, man. Because it's one of those things to where there is it's one thing to be ignorant, it's another thing to choose not to grapple with the reality. And she's in that place where I believe she wrestled with reality and she don't want to look it in the eye right now.
I think she's oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Cam. That's what's up. What's going on with you? Go ahead.
What's going on, man? I salute your wellness journey. I think I think Leslie Jones in a macro sense, in a micro sense, I really do feel bad for her. I really do sympathize for her. Because if you guys remember, like, what was it, about a decade or so ago, they had that big Apple had that big leak where people's photos got out, where her photos got out as well. And she went through, and there's a video out there somewhere where she talks about, hey, she done lost weight, she done did all this stuff, and it seems like it doesn't matter. And I think she's really just a nihilist at the other side of it. I think she's just lashing out because she already knows that what's the point in a situation of, if I can't be famous, I'll be infamous. So I think but I think what it is that a lot of women resonate with her through that, where they're just like, well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to be the type anyway, so let me take the ship down with everyone else in it. So it's really just it's a disease, it's a dis-ease of women not being comfortable in their own skin, and it's spreading because it's easy to blame someone else than to turn the picture on yourself. Like, for instance, we'll use Mr. Z, for example. It's easier to say that, Popeyes has GMO food in it and this and the third, as opposed to just going on a wellness journey. Stop eating Popeyes, walk more, drink more water, eat less bullshit. So it's a.
You're describing my life right now, KMS. Go ahead.
But the point is, it's always easier to turn the mirror externally than upon oneself. And it's weird because we're in this, as Black people, we're in this weird dynamic, as in, there's certain aspects where you do have to lift yourself up by your bootstraps, but there's also certain aspects where you are dealing with this social economic order that is disenfranchising. So from a woman, from her standpoint, I really do sympathize with it. I do empathize with a lot of women out here who find themselves without a floor as far as their sexual marketplace value. The problem is they've been such fucking assholes about it that there's also part of me that's like, man, fuck you, bitch. So I'm trying to navigate that like everybody else.
KMS. It sounds like she is a disgruntled Pop Piper, where she's trying to take as many people off the cliff with her as possible. Young, old, big, small, tall,
Isn't
short.
that most of them? Isn't that most of the ladies? And they don't have to self-reflect. They don't. I want to be very clear. I'm glad Black Blue was up here. Me and Black Blue had this conversation, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, on how self-aware women are. Bro, they don't have to be. So they can walk them off the edge of the cliff out of anger and sadness and sorrow, and then never ever have to be confronted with that. Like, you said what you said because in your mind, the world wasn't working in your favor. So you said messed up stuff, and then you walked a whole generation, or you walked how many thousands or tens of thousands or millions of women into solitude, and like nobody ever has to address you. Well, first, no one's gonna address you, and even if they did, you just get to pretend like I don't know what you're talking about, right? Like yeah. So yeah, no, go ahead.
There was a time when Whoopi Goldberg pulled Ted Danson.
I remember that.
You all don't remember that.
I do.
Now, Whoopi Goldberg was never any sort of beautiful kind of woman. And she pulled, and in fact, Ted probably would have married Whoopi. Whoopi ruined that relationship when she tricked him into doing that blackface thing. That's what broke their relationship up. Prior to that, they were in thick as thieves. and she ruined that relationship. Now, why
But
am
that's
I mentioning that? Why am I mentioning that? Whoopi was never a great looking woman. She was never considered to be a great looking woman by black folks or white folks. And she pulled the biggest white male TV star on TV at the time, and a movie star. Good looking guy, tall, good looking white guy. Leslie's problem is not her looks. There are men who will take a Leslie. Leslie's problem is her attitude and her comportment and her entitlement. That's her problem.
Black Guru, if I can speak to real quick, Ernest, let me speak to the Whoopi thing. Whoopi destroyed that because of her own inferiority complex. That's where the blackface came from. That was the acceptance from white folks. She had the man.
Well, no, she tried to pander. She tried to pander to them people. She tried to pander to them people, and it backfired on her ass. That's what happened. And black people in particular, said, "Oh, so you're gonna do some shit like that?" I mean, it's really kind of, and it probably only would have worked for a black woman. I'm not sure a black man could have done that same shit and still maintain any sort of credibility after doing that. But she was trying to pander to them people, because she had been always pandering to them people. And Ted was stupid enough to go along with it for reasons I don't know. Maybe Ted's Canadian or something. I don't know. Maybe he didn't really know what was going to be the full implications of doing that. I don't know. But yeah, that was all on Whoopi. That was all on Whoopi. Ted hardly even knew what the hell was going on until it was too late.
I do agree. So I like to expand on the whole, Whoopi not being a beauty queen, and then tying that to Leslie's, obvious issues. Could it be? It could also be that it's not that everyone's uncomfortable with her body, that she may be uncomfortable with it. That could also be a factor as well. She doesn't see what everyone else sees in the mirror.
Yeah, but in the world of lap band surgery and Ozempic and lipo, I mean, body issues can easily, and BBL, body issues can easily be addressed these days. Easily.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that white comedian who was fat all the time, and she's thin and looking decent now. What's her name? She was in she was going real strong in the 2010s. You know what I'm talking about?
Damn, what's that bro's name?
She was in all them.
What's her name? Damn, I can't remember it. And I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, you got the British chick as well, but I'm talking about the American.
Amy Schumer, maybe.
Jenny, I think her name is Jenny something.
I thought you were talking about Lisa Nepalelli. That's who I thought too. That's what I thought too.
No, she's more famous than that. Not Amy Schumer. I think she had like darker hair or whatever. But anyway,
somebody said Jenny. Yeah. Jenny. I'll look it up.
I think her name is Jenny something. Yeah. You can easily address
Jenny McCarthy. Yep, I know. Jenny McCarthy.
Jenny McCarthy. That's exactly my point. So you can easily address, weight and plastic surgery and all of that. That's not her issue. Her looks is not her issue. Her comportment, she has a very sort of manly kind of disposition and comportment. No self-respecting man is going to probably want to put up with that in real life. Now, maybe if that's just a public persona, and in private she behaves differently with men, then some man, particularly a man who's maybe not in the business and not especially sort of image conscious or whatever, because he's not really concerned about that kind of thing. A man would put up with that if the woman's got her mind and her spirit right. Leslie's problem is Leslie, not her looks, not her her skin tone, not racism and all that shit. It's her. You see plenty of homely or less than beautiful black women in that business that have men or women if that's their kind of thing.
Yeah, but I'm glad you said that. But she just, she's a walking embodiment, particularly in her speak and her comportment. Is that I'm a black woman. I'm not going to release any ground. This is a stomp down, gynocracy, and you're here to serve me, and you're the one that needs to be body beautiful. You need to be the one on the plow. I hate to quote Jason
Because
Blackwood.
I have earned this status, and so you're supposed to submit to me.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Let me segue into that a little bit if you just give me some chance. I'm glad I earned this status. But have you though? Have you really earned this status? Are you operating from a situation that you were put in that's quickly being removed because those who put you there can't afford you anymore either? And I think that's really what black women are coming to terms with. The chickens are coming home to roost, particularly these black women. I think that's an accurate description. No. Particularly these black women who are putting in these prominent positions. Like most of black women have never seen any of the benefits directly from some of these subsidies put in there en masse, more or less. Not to the point to where they can come out here speaking like these outliers speak. Like my man needs to be the workforce and the show horse.
Well, if I could throw my 2 cents in there, I agree 100% with what y'all are saying, but I think there's a multiplier effect due to the fact that, one, even though Leslie has money, she's still low class in her behavior and actions. And two, she's really running into the problems of her fetish. Like, she fetishizes a group that, frankly, as a whole, doesn't want black women. And when you put all this shit together, on top of the attitude, on top of her comportment, like, you talking about literally you looking for a needle in a haystack, baby.
She's looking for a certain needle in a haystack of needles. And also, and there's this aspect of it where the chickens really come on the roost. Like, I saw a video, Hood Services did a video what I think was a masterclass on what's going on. There was these two white sociologists kind of correlating, the Houthi and the Hutsi. I think it's the Tutsi and the Hutu. The Rwanda situation.
Yeah, Rwanda. Yep.
They correlated that to the situation involving the modern black woman. And at first I thought, this is a fucking stretch. But the more I started talking about it, the more I could kind of see some of the alignments, as in, okay, you have a class that comes into a community. They elevate one portion of the community over the other. And they give these community the benefits not necessarily earned, but given just by random selection. That happens. The community that's not have been given benefits have been put to heel, but resentment grows. Then the people who are providing these benefits leave, take their benefits, and the so-called elevated class is now left to deal with or try to come back to the masses that's not being supported or actually disenfranchised. How does this not sound like the particular situation black women are in right now? I mean, DEI kind of, the Trump administration kind of lifted the skirt on all this stuff, and within a couple of months, you got half a million jobs gone, and this whole thing and there's also been kind of a turn as far as in the zeitgeist, as far as the black woman is above reproach because she has moral superiority. It's kind of hard to make that correlation. We got a situation in Houston where they literally had the extra dress clothes for the rodeo because these bitches showing up butt naked. So you have a situation where you have
the cruise liners too, KMS. All that hip hop music, that too. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you have the situation of this elevated class giving this false sense of morality, making them beyond reproach, having all this stripped of them, and then them having to come back to a community, namely their men, that they shat on. So this whole aspect of, well, this man needs to bring me gifts for a date before he shows up. And I'm like, well, okay, I see you saying that, but nothing in your life says I should show up with anything but dick to this particular date, considering the dude you deal with. But all of a sudden, you're trying to come back to community, and you're trying to reinforce these standards that I've never seen you operate in. But also on that term, you don't have the backing of another culture elevating you. So now I'm just dealing with you. I'm not dealing with you as a construct, quote unquote, black woman. I'm just dealing with you as a black woman who hasn't been acting right for the past 6 decades. And I think that's where they are right now. And they're coming to terms with it. And that's why these chicks are crashing out.
Yeah.
I'll land my plane there.
Yep.
I think another thing that you didn't mention is that this is kind of the vestige of them pandering to black women in general. I mean, she just got played because, again, they know that she's going to crash out. So here are these outlets ready to prop her up, and she didn't see how she's being used as a prop. And I just find it funny because it's like, and also with the other chick asking to bring a gift. I mean,
Angela Simmons.
I'm like, okay, as one of the guys I can honestly say who is a traveler. I mean, I got my Filipina who's gone through grad school and she's washing my drawers in the sink. So she's willing to do that. And I'm like, no, babe, you don't know how to do that. Nah, it's okay. I'm like, what? I'm coming back here for this.
On the Angela Simmons thing, what's the name of the guy, the rapper or whatever, that she was with? Most recently.
It's Joe Williams. It's Joseph Williams. And Simmons. I said Will Simmons. My bad. Simmons. Yeah. Her dad was part of Run DMC.
No. I'm saying she was with some guy. I think he's from Memphis.
Oh, Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti.
Yeah, he was a
I gotta blame Yo Gotti. Yo Gotti was publicly worshiping that girl. I mean, he made a spectacle of himself, chasing after that girl for years.
He mentioned her in a song. Mm-hmm.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You make yourself look small. You make men look small. I mean, here you've achieved this level of fame and status and money and position amongst other men, particularly in a kind of a rough sort of industry, a very sort of manly, or at least professed to be manly sort of industry. And you run around publicly, got your nose wide open for this Lucky Sperm Club member. So I gotta partially blame him for all that.
But Black Uru, isn't that as old as the royals? That like what? This is like thousands of years old. This is the goal, to marry into royalty, and like she's hip hop royalty, not for anything she did at all, right? But because of her dad.
When people marry, the whole point of nepotism though is to move up. I mean, the whole point of marrying or hypergamy is to move up. He doesn't move up by getting with Angela Simmons. Maybe if he was a complete nobody, so to speak, quote, and he got with Angela Simmons, yeah, that's definitely a move up. Yo Gotti don't move up by getting with Angela Simmons. She doesn't elevate. He's already elevated himself. I mean, yeah, his dad was a great artist in his day, and he still is a historical figure, but it's not, he don't really benefit from being with her, other than the fact that maybe all you millennials were jerking off to Angela Simmons. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Her older sister, correction, sir. Her older sister.
Yeah, the older sister was hot.
The older sister to me is, listen, I'm joking, but like to me the older sister was always cute.
Yeah. So maybe it's that, maybe it's sort of like a trinket of conquest or something on his part. I don't know, because I'm not of the age. Maybe I might, certain people my generation might feel the same about bagging Janet Jackson or something. I don't know,
But that's in their mind. I mean, go.
Maybe being with a Simmons is like his Kennedy in a sense. Yeah,
That's what
ridiculous
I was
as it
speaking
sounds.
to. Yeah, exactly.
I
That's
look.
kind of what I was speaking to.
I guess I can see that, but even the guys who chase after the Kennedys, they never really did it in that sort of public, sort of self-deprecating way that he did it.
Yeah.
I just think that was
Well,
demeaning to him
well,
and demeaning to
well,
fellas of his set. Yeah.
unfortunately, he's also unfortunately we're all tied to the godocracy. So prostrating oneself in front of a
I
woman,
mean, look.
you know,
Well, what's the name? Birdman was with
Tony Braxton.
Tony Braxton. But you didn't see him.
Mhm.
Oh, I gotta have Tony Braxton. I love you, Tony Braxton. You're my queen. You didn't see him doing all that. You didn't see him
I'm not
doing all
saying
that. He know better than that.
no. I understand it, but I also give you Will Smith. So my point being is that it's going to happen, and hopefully this nonsense is being phased out. But we're still in the process of phasing it out. It's going to happen
Yeah.
though.
Well, yeah. I mean, the unfortunate thing, the young women, both of millennial and Gen X, I guess on down, have so overexposed, their cruder nature that it's hard to even craft and maintain any sort of fantasy views of them. In the past, you could pretend that Lola Falana was a certain kind of, just throwing the name out here, or Diane Carroll was a certain kind of woman, only to discover that Diane Carroll was cheating on her husband with Sidney Poitier. But we didn't know that until Diane Carroll did that damn article with Ebony, which was some bullshit when she did that. But prior to that, they were these Diane Carroll was this perfect figure, But you
I think
guys don't have the benefit of that level of
Someone said,
secrecy on these things anymore.
I
someone,
think it's
Dylan
more.
said, real quick, KMS, my bad. Dylan said Birdman had Kamali Simmons too, but the women don't have no principles, bro. It don't matter. Like they're not standing for nothing except for the money. Go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad we're having this conversation, Black people, because it's a lot more dire than that. It's not that if these women have everything out there. It's just that okay, there's now no reason for me to look at a long-term relationship with you, particularly if you have kids, because you already done everything. You already have everything out there. And Mr. Z talked about it a couple of streams ago, but it's true. I've seen with my own hands. I mean, my own eyes as early as yesterday. We're really living in the age of the situational ship. Because what else can these chicks provide? I mean, it's not a situation, Black Guru, where they're having sex with everything. These chicks are fucking anything. And then then they want you to show up and they want you to present a bag for just to meet with them. All
Well,
along
The
the
bag is
lines.
for the man.
in
Wait,
that
real quick.
world,
Wait, real quick.
in that world,
Go.
in that
Go,
world,
Michael. Go.
then you have to ask yourself this question. You have to ask yourself some basic question. Do you want to have children? And what are you willing to invest to maximize the potential viability of having and raising those children? And are you willing to leave the country?
It's
I mean,
all
so
of
if you got to answer those questions, because those will frame the answer to those questions should frame all you're dealing with women, or they should be the preeminent consideration going forward, whether you're playing with them or not. What's your bottom line perspective progeny project, if you have one?
Well, so that was to be frank with you. Lily Gadish, the little racist white blonde, and Peter McDougal, the other one, the wannabe influencers. That's kind of what they were speaking to when they were speaking to like the red pill kind of dudes, white dudes. Some months ago I covered that. That's essentially what they were saying. They're like, yeah, we know white women are hoes, yeah, we know, but does it even matter in 2 centuries who that your baby mama was a hoe? as long as
We
your
need these
lineage
white
continue.
wombs to produce.
Yeah.
We need these white wombs to produce future white men. So it's this that kind of bottom line, basically. And part of the reason why they took abortion away from white women, they'll never say it publicly. Part of the reason why they've taken abortion away specifically from white women is so you can't have sex with Daquan and Tyrone and them and then abort that kid. It forces white women to be more earnest and more and more forthright about their sexual history. You either gonna have Daquan's child and be marked as having Daquan's child, which means that you're persona non grata going forward, or you're not gonna fuck Daquan and get pregnant by it, because there's a possibility you can get pregnant by Daquan and get marked. I earnestly believe that is a part of the formula of removing Roe v. Wade. I earnestly so you guys, you know, KMS and them guys, stop you D1 athlete types, stop riding out, you know, hollering them.
Yeah, and let me say this before you go, KMS, because I actually want to speak to something you said about the dudes that have to provide the back. That is, I'm only saying stuff that we already spoke of. That is for the non-select. The non-select dude has to provide the back. That, I guess, it's just go and get the vagina off the GP or GP off a free.
I'm glad.
You know, so yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm glad you mentioned it, and I thought that too. That is not the case, my friend. These hoes are lying. It's literally all it is timing and proxemics. I was with some clients yesterday. We was at a bar. We ended up talking to the waitress there. We just got talking back and forth and whatnot. Then we started talking about relationships, and I asked her about her last boyfriend. She said, "Oh yeah, I met him. I met him at the other bar I work at." "Oh, hey, well, how'd that happen?" "Well, you know, I got drunk. I met him. I fucked him in the bathroom, and we've been off and on for about 4 months and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, okay, interesting." So she showed me a picture of this dude. No. I push back against that. The TF exposed that. It's just literally if you can tie into her feelings with the situation with this timing and proxemics. Most of these chicks can be got. You know how and Black Guru can test this. Like you start talking to your friends or whatnot, they talk about, "Oh man, I remember all these chicks. You can't bang all these chicks, man. All these chicks weren't necessarily lookers." And they're right in most cases. The same thing for these women too. If you ask women, "Hey, let me see your last 10 engagements," all them dudes ain't stunners. Some of the dudes gonna be convenient. The dudes work at a convenience store. Some dudes gonna be the janitor. Some dudes are gonna be some dudes you would find incredible that she been involved with. All this knowledge was esoteric knowledge until recently. It's to the point now. It's like, why am I coming with standards? Most of these women clearly have absolutely no standards. Is that you get her on the right day? Is she feeling in the mood? And that is regardless of whether or not you more or less her type or not. It's everything's been exposed to the point to where, everything's been exposed to the point to where I honestly believe that if you have to go on a date with a woman to get her naked, she don't like you. It's literally transactional to that point. And it's going to be for women to correct this. Us men, we can't unsee what we've seen. I can't unsee the TF. I mean, most of the dudes on TF, man, them dudes weren't ballers. They weren't body beautiful man. They weren't the captains of the industry. No, man, just a regular dude caught her on the right day. Bam. That's it. So I don't even believe in that premise no more. That you got to be select. No, you don't. You just got to be there and her feeling something. If she wants to feel something, or whatever that nonsense.
It's definitely situational. It's
Correct.
definitely situational, and the biggest situation being what her situation is. So a combination of situations going on with her mentally, emotionally, economically, educationally. Yeah, I mean, sure, I'm going to fuck the math guy if I really need to get B to maintain this scholarship. Yeah, I'm going to pretend to like it and fuck on the math genius, in college, right? So it's going to be
that's true, but I'm also going to But that's true, but I'm also going to fuck that custodian who said that good word to me when I was up late. I was in the library studying for my final. that also happens as well.
Hmm.
So these this
Yeah,
whole aspect, these women
yeah,
having
yeah.
standards,
Or
fucking
or
bullshit.
pick me up. He found me sloppy drunk, out on the campus at 2 a.m. in the morning after Daquan kicked me out of his dorm room. That kind of shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, these chicks, they have no scruples. They have no standards outside of ones that are applied to them by society. I honestly believe that at this point. These chicks are fucking animals.
But they've been told that
Yeah.
past don't matter. They've been told that past don't matter. Everything can be wiped away. Even that situation of you talking to that waitress in the bar, she's still in the same environment that she met her last one. So you can get them, but then how long are you going to keep them? So that goes right
Oh,
back to
yeah.
your point of the situationship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it's just
Yeah,
it's
no,
oh man,
I mean,
talking about it, man.
you don't even want to keep them. That's the thing. But again, that's why I was saying before. To me, the real issue is not about them. The real issue is about what is your progeny project. Your progeny project should be your preeminent um, focus in dealing with women, and
It should
and
be.
that should take preeminence over all. I'm not saying don't play with the thoughts and all that. I mean, obviously protect yourself, both reproductively as well as obviously STDly, um, to the extent that is you can reasonably do that. But I'm saying, in terms of marriage and all that, that's a farce. We all know that's a farce. So it's really just about, really, if I'm making recommendations to young men today, I would say find the most fit, tall, healthy woman you can and make children with her under the auspices that it's likely going to fail. And you might even end up child support court with them, but at least you're more likely to produce a Michael Jordan. And I'm just using Michael
Yeah,
Jordan as an extreme example to say, look, the relationship is likely going to fail anyway, but at least you might maximize the ability to produce the most productive children from that union.
um, on that note, and it kind of sucks that KMS isn't here. I guess KMS, when you get a chance, if you don't mind, because I actually have something to say to you and Black Twitter and backstage. So KMS, if you still listening, there, yeah, but yeah, I already let BGS know and there's a couple of other brothers in the Black Ministry, but anyway, yeah, what I was gonna say, yeah, no, it is a different environment. I think we're in the era of the situationship. That's what it is. That's what it's going to be for a while. I don't see that flipping, to be honest with you, anytime soon. I do think we're going to be living Elysium, which is, like I said before, the elites are the ones who are going to have these things, and the rest of us are just going to be kind of out here freestyling and whatnot. And even the elites, it's really going to be just a sign, I would argue, of just the class position. It's going to be essentially a luxury bag lifestyle, and that's what the marriage is. The rest of us is situationships. So long-term relationships, short-term relationships, freestyling, doing whatever, LGBTQ, bisexuality, and I think bisexuality is going to explode to be 30, especially obviously among women, but I think even among men, because what's the point, right? So no, I think our environment just completely changes over the next few decades. The technology is going to be dope, right? Damn magic. But everything else, I would argue, we're just the societal. I think UBI or some form of that will be instituted. I don't know. I know I'm kind of going doomer and dark. I think I agree with KMS and I stand corrected. Thank you, KMS, for that. I stand corrected, which is like, no, the shit just be there, opportunity and time and how she's feeling and all of that other stuff. And then, so yeah, no, I do definitely think that's a thing. I definitely think that's a thing. Yeah. But,
Look,
yeah,
if
y'all.
they
Go
have
ahead.
their druthers, obviously, the 6'4", Chad or whatever is gonna be the optimal choice, all things being equal. But obviously that man is at a high premium, and his market value is ascending. So even if that is what you, especially if he also has matching economic viability. So even if that's their premium choice, like logistically, 99% of women are not going to have any sort of real, tangible, sustained access with such a man. So, all the other stuff, all the other living has got to occur in between. And that means that, the time around the 5'9", Arab or 5'7" Arab store owner, or the, 5'10", guy who works in the office. He's kind of goofy, but he's really good at helping to fix these spreadsheets. I mean, it's going to be a lot of situations, and people finding their way to enjoy whatever sort of situation they're in, and matches to whatever that circumstances is at that time. And there's all, because you're dealing with women, so there's always an emotional up and down element to that as well. And you got to be prepared to accept that, because Thursday you might be the bee's knees, so to speak. Friday she might pretend like she don't even know your ass, and you got to accept it. If that's what you're gonna be dealing with.
What you're describing, Black Root, is the situationship era, and you insulate yourself to a certain extent with education, class, money. That doesn't mean that you're immune. I said insulate, right? So you could mitigate for certain parts of this kind of toxic sludge crap that we're describing right now. With that said, that doesn't mean no one is going to be immune. But the higher up you are, the more you earn, your class position, where you live, it insulates you to a certain extent from this kind of chaos. But like you said, that is what I think is going to happen, which is this men and women freestyling. And yeah, so you'll have women who have a kid, depending, let's say the hood sister, she'll have a kid from Habib, then she'll have a kid from the mechanic, the Latino mechanic. She'll have a kid from her damn the oldest child's teacher, right? Black male teacher. I know we don't have that many black male teachers, but still black male. So like that. But then just the Triple X fund, they're already piping everybody. They're gonna be piping everybody. They white bosses, the Latino mechanic, once again, Habib from the corner store. And that won't just be a lower class woman thing. That'll be a every woman thing practically. That's how I see it.
And to be honest, that is the more natural state of the mammalian female. The human female and the mammalian female overall. If you really look at the animal kingdom, that's the more natural state. As crude and as matter of fact as that is, that's the more natural state. And the circumstances has just forced us into a lot more, quote, animalistic, end quote, behavior. Ironically, as we've so-called become a more technologically advanced society, it's actually provoked the exact opposite in terms of our cultural and social and mental and emotional development. It's actually taken us collectively in an opposite direction. Ironically.
Go ahead.
It's just real quick. It sounds what you're describing as serial monogamy.
But I mean, like, that's yes and no, because I don't even think it's going to be that to a certain extent.
At all. Yeah, because serial monogamy is like, okay, going from this one relationship to that one relationship to that one relationship, or semi-relationship. I don't think it's going to be that for the majority of people. I think that's going to be the majority of people is going to be situational.
I think the majority of people will get in where they fit in,
basis, or at least a weekly basis. Yeah.
I think people will be, but no, serial situation where people are going to get in where they fit in. It's going to be a whole lot of this person piping that person for a few months. They single for a few months, then they with another person for a few months. They single for a few months, then they with a person for a year, maybe two. It's like I see what Vince is saying, and I kind of understand, but I do no. The part of me does think that you'll have okay. Oh crap! It's doing its own thing. No, it's definitely not 4 miles. I did 3 miles. Yeah, my watch thinks that I'm walking when I'm actually in the car right now. But yeah. So no. No, I do think that there will be situationships that last 2 years and 3 years. Oh, that's a thing. That'll happen. But for the most part, what I'm arguing is that people's situationships are going to be 6 and 9 months, and then you're going to spend 9 months, 6 months,
I
hoping
think to the
back at it.
extent that there are some relationships that last a year, I think most of them will involve a child, will involve a baby, and there will be some motivation to try to maintain some semblance of consistency for that child. And I think going forward, I think you're going to have fewer situations where people are just together just to be together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what we're describing right now, isn't that kind of the state of much of the Black community right now? We're just saying it's going to export out.
Yeah.
Isn't that
It's
like,
just gonna
how many of us?
export out and broad. Yeah.
How many of us have come across? I've come across pregnant women who are not with the father of the child, and they're already with another dude.
I did too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right. So like that's going to be a thing.
Well, let's be real though. Many of those were hump and dump and Friday or Saturday night party situations anyway. I mean, a lot of those. I mean, we don't know what that would be statistically because women lie their ass off. But I would wager high in the plurality, if not majority, of scenarios where that happens, there was never a real relationship between those people to begin with, the eminent parents, that there was never any real confirmed relationship at all. It was just that he had some real good dick that night, or somebody was drunk, or some combination of those. And we just say, well, maybe we say, hey, the dick's so good, I hope I don't get pregnant. That's what a lot of those are.
That's not how it work out though.
And that's,
I see where you're coming from.
and that's,
Like, I see where
and
you're coming
that's
from.
real. That's real human behavior. That's real mammalian behavior. Real mammal behavior is to hit it raw. That's in all parts of the animal kingdom, because our primary inclination with each other is to reproduce, and everything else is a secondary consideration because of the circumstances of modern life and whatever. But our primary inclination is to reproduce.
So now what we're working on is how many women and men, but because we're men, Black men, how many women will the discipline stick? Was she raised by a Black Uru, and did it stick? Right? Because that's for men like those of us in the Black Manosphere. That's what we're searching for now. Was she raised by a Black Uru, and did it stick? And is it going to stick throughout her life? Because that it could wear off, right? So that's pretty
Even
much
the
where we
sticking
are.
throughout the life. I mean, that's why I said, you get the best, most fit woman, tallest, best, most fit woman you can. And I put emphasis on height, because I do think you should reproduce to maximize the potential physicality of your sons. I believe that should be a preeminent consideration of yours in your mating. I believe that. And we see evidence of the meaning of that in our current world. Go ahead.
Let me read this from Dylan. Dylan says, having children ain't worth dealing with Satan. And that's for every man to decide, right? I see where you're coming from, but I do think that every man is going to have to decide whether, because let's be clear,
Well, I would deal with Satan for my children. I would fist fight Satan naked for my children.
Right.
Damn
But
right.
again, but he's saying to have the kid. He's saying,
my children?
would you?
Oh, no, listen to me. I'm saying for my children. So I mean, I don't know if the person who's making that statement has children, but I'm saying
no. He's saying to have the kid,
Black
not
men
when your kid is already here, but to have the kid. For you, would you deal with?
I'm saying that's an easy thing to say when our primary inclination as a species is to reproduce. I don't give a damn if she's Satan and the child support court and all of that. Our primary, because guess what? If we don't do that, we're not a species. Hello, in case y'all don't know it, if we're not having children, we die off as a species. Notwithstanding the child support thing and alimony thing and the baby mama thing and all the bullshit. If we use that as the basis to say we're not gonna have children and families, we're done as a species. Now maybe y'all want to go extinct. That's what you all would decide. I mean, I'll be dead, sooner rather than later, so it won't matter to me. And I don't already have my kids.
Hold on, you can't just tap out of this, man.
Yep.
But
I be saying that to black women all the time. I'm like,
yeah,
no,
you
y'all
damn
gonna be
right.
here.
Like say for my children, and I'll bet you the majority of men who have children would fight Satan. Black men. I just about guarantee you the majority of black men would fight Satan himself for his children.
But once again, like, would you fight Satan to have the kids in the first place?
Well, again, if your answer to that question is no, then what you're saying, you resign yourself to extinction. Because Satan is here, and we've accepted that Satan is here. So the choice is yours. The choice is yours.
I'll put it like this. I won't be quite that strong. But if we look back for a lot of us and we're honest, we've dated and made some choices that were less than spectacular. I wouldn't call them Satan, but some of us definitely have laid down with Beelzebub and had some kids.
Yeah. I'm sorry, my background.
Well, I mean, I think we're misapplying nouns here, because I don't view the women as being Satan. I view the circumstances as turning them into helpful demons. But I don't think the women themselves are Satan. So I think we have a different application of nouns here.
No, I know what you mean. When I say that, I mean people who literally act a particular way, purposely make things difficult, or just obstinate for the sake of being obstinate.
What
I'm
y'all say
being
about
very
Rihanna?
hyperbolic,
No,
but
I get all that, but most of even that is enabled by a system that allows and perpetuates and encourages them to do all that. Absent the environmental factors, they can't do all that or get away with doing all that. You can.
What y'all
That
say
same
Rihanna
woman
did?
can't get away with doing all that. Let me finish. That same woman, that exact same woman you described, cannot do all that shit in Saudi Arabia, can she?
nah.
Now she's the same so-called devil, ain't she? She's the same woman, but yet she can't do that in Saudi Arabia. So is she the real devil, or is it the environment?
The environment lets her be what she wants
That's
to be.
my point.
No, we agree.
And encourages her to be a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm
Y'all gonna
sorry
leave
for
it.
you guys who want to think that women are some special snowflake. Yeah, all that shit is inside. The devil is in all of us, or is capable of reaching all of us. But that don't mean we have to comply with the devil. But here's the thing: some of us are more vulnerable to the devil than others. And pardon my chauvinism, I believe women are more vulnerable to the devil than men are, generally. I mean, I think y'all Bible said that, if I recall that, right? Didn't y'all
What
Bible
do you mean
say
by
that?
that?
Because the devil didn't approach Adam, the devil approached Eve. So we already know they're more vulnerable to the devil. And that's why the environment is so important. And so I don't view them as being the devil. I view them as being potentially subject to the devil and the manifestations therein. I definitely agree with that. And I think you should move
No,
accordingly. But I don't view them to be the devil.
nah, I agree. Rihanna's not that bad of a role model.
Hysterical.
Rihanna?
Yeah.
I mean, Rihanna's an interesting case now because notice how domesticated she is now.
No, ASAP Rocky's domesticated.
No, she seemed pretty
Wow.
damn domesticated too. She seemed pretty domesticated and submissive to that dude.
Because she's a mother now, but the thing is, the unfortunate thing about art and media
No, but
is the
she
art that
chose
she
to
put.
be. She could have been the mother to any number of dudes' children over the last whatever
Yeah, but
20 years or whatever she's been on the scene. She chose
that's
to
not.
be the mother to his children and has
That
repeatedly chosen to be the mother to his children. What, to the tune of 3 or
I,
4 now?
Yeah, she was dating
you
Sultan
know,
at one point. Yeah.
yeah. Y'all,
She was
y'all not
with
wrong, but that's not my
billionaires,
stance. That's not.
and none of them billionaires got
Hey,
any
old man,
babies out
let
of
me
her.
finish.
No, the
Hey,
billionaires didn't get any babies out of her. The baseball players didn't get any babies out of her. All these guys she was with didn't get no babies out of her. But ASAP got them out of
let me make my point,
her.
old man.
ASAP,
Hey,
that dude, to her.
No, bro, y'all let Black
let me
Lulu
make my.
go. Go ahead, Black Lulu.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, I
Go ahead, go
mean
ahead, go
you're
ahead.
trying
Go
to
ahead,
make a
Vince.
point
Go
about
ahead.
Rihanna, and my point is she seemed pretty submissive to the guy she's with. She ain't the same way
That's
with him that she's been with all the other dudes we seen her with.
that is true. That is not my point of why I'm bringing up Rihanna, right? You are right, right? I got no argument with that. But her in the work that she did prior is going to live forever, and that's going to be somebody's compass of how to move around and how to dress like she wore a whore's uniform. She's a mother now, but 15 years ago,
I get what you're saying. Let me say that, Vince.
that's
I know
uh,
exactly what you're saying. It pretty much what Vince is saying is pretty much what I say is like these women walk the other women to the edge of the cliff and they turn around, but the other women fall off. So Rihanna did all
yes.
of this stuff.
Yeah.
She painted a
Well,
picture
I'm not
of.
disagreeing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but I mean, she's no different than a lot of Diana Ross or Donna Summers. You know, I love to love you, babe. Yeah, I mean, so it's been a lot of horror myth being perpetuated in popular music the last 60 odd years.
Uh, so
And
what you saying
those
is she's
weren't
not the first; she's just
necessarily
the most
how those
recent.
women were living. Well, yeah, I mean, a better example of what you're describing to me is actually Beyonce, because her whole
Oh,
imagery
yep,
has been
yep,
she
yep.
she has marketed completely against the type of woman she actually is. So, I mean, to some, in fact, Rihanna was at least a more, in my view, a more earnest woman, because I think to some degree, whatever sort of lasciviousness we saw presented publicly did to some degree represent how she was living. So at least to some degree, it was honest. You know, like the fight with Chris Brown, obviously, that was some honest shit, you know. But with Beyonce, she sold the whole image and single lady and all of that, and it's completely against type of who and what she is. She went from her daddy to her husband. She ain't never been alone.
I agree.
She went from
I
one
agree.
man to another man.
Mm-hmm.
But when
Mm-hmm.
you look at the music and the imagery, you don't get that. You don't receive that. So I would actually
I
put
agree.
more of an indictment against Beyonce than I would Rihanna, to be honest, if that's the argument we're gonna make.
Go ahead, Vince, because I know you wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Hold on, real quick.
I was gonna let you go because I'm about
I
to end
said,
out in a
no,
little bit.
I'm right here.
Ooh.
I'm right.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll keep it brief. You got to
Okay,
put
go
the
ahead.
diamonds on all of them. I'm playing.
Because I definitely want to say the thing to Black Uru. Go ahead.
I'm saying we got to put the diamonds on all of them. No, I'm joking.
Okay. But okay, y'all. Look, We are. Oh, Spain man, you're late. You're super late. Like I'm in and out late. Right, because I got things to do. So, y'all, we will be pausing right here. Love piece of chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content for the love of God. Black Uru, I was gonna tell you something. I want to say that to you backstage. Why you already dropped? Black Uru already dropped. Look at that. Black Uru, if you're listening, if you don't mind coming back up. So yeah. Because I've been actually trying to get in contact with you for a little bit. So Black Uru, if you're listening. So we'll pause right here. Love piece of chicken grease. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content for the love of God. And Mr. Z out. All right, y'all.
You are now listening to Mr. Z Blackneffect.